and another edition of the Weekly Video Recap.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
It's over the wall. Giants have it. Lawrence Taylor struck the ball. Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes!
With the players.
Come on, Ryan, direct from hell.
But hey, enough of my yakking. What do you say? Let's boogie.
Yes, and that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another Thursday night edition of the Hard Rockin' Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rockin' Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your weekly 3-hour get-together where we bring you all the biggest news from around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, and, of course, the wide world of sports. And, guys, welcome to Thursday, October the 22nd. Geez, we're getting late in this year. Most of the time, I guess most of us don't want the year to fly by. You want to kind of embrace the time. You want to enjoy life. But I think a lot of us are just happy to get 2020 over with and maybe start fresh next year. I'm curious to see what next year is going to bring us. Obviously, we all hope to get to next year. But we'll start with tonight. And we got a lot to get to you tonight. So much going on in the world today. I mean, everything from the World Series, the NFL, middle of the NFL season. We got lots of music going on out there. We had the passing of Eddie Van Halen a few weeks ago on the 8th. We're going to talk a little guitar tonight. We're going to talk about the greatest solo of all time. What's the greatest solo of all time? We'll jump that in there. We're waiting for Jeff to come on, but we got a lot to talk about in football. The Giants get a win. The Jets still are 0-for. Big game for the Giants tonight. And I say big game because this division's wide up in the air. I mean, the Cowboys are terrible. The Eagles are terrible. The Redskins are terrible. The Giants are bad. There's a lot. You could have an NFC East champion with 6 wins, 7 wins. It's really going to be, it's going to come down to not so much the how many wins out in total. It's really going to be how many wins in the division. Who can win most of their games in the division? That's going to decide this. Washington's, terrible. The Giants have a half a chance. I think their defense is just better than anybody else's in the division, so that's why I give them half a chance. If they can get their offense on track. Now, again, it hasn't happened so far, so will it? I don't know. They need to stay healthy, but their defense is better than everybody else's. So tonight's a big game for the Giants. If they go to Philly and win, I mean, Philly is decimated by injuries. They literally have just 2 guys on offense left. They're missing their tight ends. They're missing their back. Sanders is out. Ertz is out. I mean, there's so much. They're just so devastated that if the Giants go down there and lose, and I don't really care how they lose, that's a bit. That's just terrible. Then they don't deserve to win this division. And you know what? Nobody deserves it. But we are where we are at. I'm not blaming Dak Prescott on this right now because the Cowboys weren't good before Dak Prescott got hurt. But what you saw was Andy Dalton is not Dak Prescott. And I'm not a big fan of Dak Prescott, but Andy Dalton does not inspire confidence. Now, maybe it gets better, but there's all sorts of infighting down in Dallas. I mean, they're calling out the coaches. People are all over Zeke Elliott for fumbleitis. There's a lot of problems out in Dallas. So who's going to be the team in the NFC East to step up and win it? Who's going to take control, from week 6 on and make this about them? We're going to see. It's going to be an interesting ride. The unfortunate part in the NFL is that somebody in football, some team out there that's deserving or a better team than one of these teams is going to miss the playoffs, and one of these teams are going to go out there. Now, could somebody go on a run? Yes. Could somebody go out there? That's just the way the NFL is. Somebody in the NFC East can go on a run and win 8, 9, 10 games. It's always possible. I just don't see it. But it's possible. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to talk about a few things tonight. Giants and Jets, the NFL news and notes. We're going to talk about Jeff becoming a fan of a new football team. We got an interview with our good friend Ross the Boss. That's right, Ross the Boss Friedman. He's not on to talk about the Ross the Boss band. He's going to be on to talk about the Death Dealer band. And Ross is also a big Met fan. We'll talk to him a little bit about the Mets and the Giants. He's also a big Giant fan. So we'll get to a little bit of both of those tonight. We'll talk about the debate. I want to see what people think of this Hunter Biden, Joe Biden story. Real quick, I'm going to give you my take fast because we're not going to take long for this tonight. But it disturbs me whether you believe the story or not. The media needs to dig in and do it justice. If you believed the president and Ukraine, the president and Russia, again, I didn't, but I understood that it needed to be investigated. For people to come out and just flat out say it doesn't need to be investigated, that this is a non-story is extremely wrong. There is enough meat on the bone here. I mean, the guy who was partners with this Hunter Biden came out and said it's all true. Now, I don't know what his deal is. I don't know if he's got a grudge, an axe to grind. But please don't tell me, hey, Rooftop Blue. Don't tell me that there is no reason to investigate this. Now, I understand why the Dems don't want to do this. They don't care if Joe gets impeached. They just want him elected so Kamala Harris can be the president. So the Democrats don't really care if Joe. They're setting it up already. Nancy coming out with that trying to get that amendment. It wasn't about Trump saying that if the president is mentally incapacitated, they can remove him and set up a commission. That's for Joe. They want Joe out of the way as early as they can. I truly believe that. But again, all I'm saying here is don't have to believe it. It doesn't have to sway you. But please, if you're a Dem, if you're a Trump hater, at least admit that this needs to be investigated. You're talking about the vice president of the United States being accused of peddling his office, his name to our adversaries, to China. Just tell me it deserves to be investigated. Whether you believe it or not, that's a different story. I look at the evidence and I say, it looks bad. But I'm watching all these people on TV and the newspapers don't even talk about it. So I'm curious if you're out there, drop me a little line out here on the comment page. Tell me, do you believe it needs to be investigated? We'll talk about the best, the absolute best guitar solo of all time. There's many choices. I'm curious what people list. We'll get to that about 8 o'clock. Alabama beats Georgia. Great game. Clemson destroys Georgia Tech 73-7, I think it was, setting up a real. They're due for a clash. It looks like Alabama and Clemson for it all, or at least into the playoffs. Keep an eye on Ohio State. Could step in there and cause something. I think the Big Ten team has a chance. But you watch these two teams play, and there's just no defense out there for either. But they can score points, so we'll see how that plays. Doc Emmerich is going to retire. I'm going to tell you my Doc Emmerich story. I worked with the guy a few times back in the Fox days. I'm going to give you my Doc Emmerich story, so we'll hang in for that. Let's see what else we got. Stephen A. Smith says OBJ and Jarvis Landry should X out of the Cleveland because of Baker Mayfield. Curious. We'll talk about Jeff about NFL playoff seeding. We got a lot to talk about there. What makes a great metal album? Is Dak Prescott's injury a warning sign to teams who are looking to sign their quarterbacks for $40 and $50 million deals? Now, I get that's an important play, and if they go down, that's it. But you leave yourself no room for the rest of your team. And one little injury, and I don't want to say little, when a guy like Dak is out for the season, the Cowboys season is over. Now you think, okay, they did spend some money and they brought in what I would have considered a decent backup, but he hasn't turned out that way. So again, guys, lots to talk about. Waiting for Jeff to come on. I'm going to bring my dad on in a second. Hopefully you guys will all keep on. We got plenty of things going on tonight here at the Hard Rock and Sports Show. Remember, next Thursday night, Jeff Westlake from the band Hydrogen, and I believe Holly, his new singer, will be popping in. I got to confirm that with John over at RFL Records, and thanks to everybody over there. Check out rflrecords.com. Guys, also, I agree, Lou. They have to at least, if this was Eric or Donald Trump Jr., the press would be on this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I think it's embarrassing that they're not. So even if you don't want to believe it, even if you think it's wrong, I agree with Louis. They have to investigate this. And I'll tell you what, if they don't and Trump wins, Okay, they're neutered. They no longer matter anymore. And God forbid it comes out after the election that this is all true, which I believe it is. They have no credibility. And if anybody believes that the mainstream media does, you're not as bright as I think you are. Guys, remember this Saturday coming up, October the 24th, over in Newark, Ohio, the Somewhere Else Bar. Our good friends Black Sasquatch will be out there. That says from 7 to 11. Make sure you get out to the Somewhere Else Bar in Newark, Ohio, and check out our good friends from the Black Sasquatch Band. Great guys, great band, fun band. I would imagine that these guys are your typical bar band. They just go out there raw and they play it. They don't care if it's good, bad, or indifferent. These guys kick some ass. I love their stuff. Good people on top of it. Love to have a beer with those guys one day. Hopefully I'll get to do that. But please, 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 make sure you get out and support my friends at Black Sasquatch. Good guys. So check them out. Again, plenty to get to tonight. We'll talk a little bit about 1-1 in the World Series right now. We'll talk a little about the Yankees. You know, the Yankees have a lot of decisions to do this shit. A lot of decisions to make for the Yankees. Sanchez, do they do something with Voit and Gleyber Torres? Who plays shortstop next year? Do you move Gleyber over back to second where he flourished last year? You know, do you stick with him another year? What do you do in the outfield? You know, do you bring Gardner back, which I'm a fan of doing for the right price? You know, do you fix the how do you fix the rotation? You know, to me, you don't bring Hab and Paxton back. You can't bring those guys back because they just have not fulfilled it. I'm interested in Stroman. He wants to come here, but I also am down on Stroman. He opted out. I don't know if there was an injury, if he's got an illness thing in his family, but the fact that he bailed on the Mets really would bother me. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but you know, lots going on there. The Mets are right now, they're in the process of getting their new ownership on board. I'm curious to see how that's going to affect them. What do you guys think? Do you think Cohen coming in makes an immediate impact? Does him throwing around money, which I'm assuming he's going to do, does he make the team better? They have a lot of things over there too. I mean, you're going to be missing Syndergaard for most of next year. They're probably not going to get Stroman back. I would be surprised. They need some help on that team. What happens with Alonso? Does he get himself back together? Do they keep bringing back Dom Smith? Lots of stuff in baseball to talk about. Plenty of football. Giants on tonight. You know, somebody asked me before, would I rather Donald Trump win tonight or the Giants to win tonight? And it's tough. But I'd say Giants because I don't think the Donald Trump winning this debate sways this election at all. I think people have already made up their minds. And I think so I'm taking the Giants. I think the Giants will win tonight. I think this Philly team is just decimated. But it's the House of Horrors. It's the House of Horrors down there. So we got a lot to get to tonight. Make sure you check out hardrocketsports.com. Go to our Facebook page. Obviously, check in over there. And also go to our website, go to our YouTube page, Hard Rocket Sports Show. Please subscribe. Makes it all better for us here. And we're kicking in, waiting in for Jeff to pop in. Plenty to talk about. Somebody's messaging me. Hang on half a second. Okay. And like I said, let's get my dad on. Let's see what he's got to say. So we got Roast the Balls at 7:45, so we got a little time to talk sports and music. What's up, Pop?
So guys, how you doing?
That's right, Dad. It's just me and you right now. So what's going on?
All right. No, nothing. Just listen. Get ready for the game tonight.
Yeah.
Should be a very interesting game.
Yeah.
Very hard to get interested in a game where I think they have 5 wins in the whole division.
5 wins total, and I'm not
sure.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a win outside of the division. I have to look at that again. I think the Redskins have a win outside the division. Yeah, I think the Redskins' first win was outside of the division. Other than that, everybody's just beating up on each other. So I don't.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
It is. It is.
It's entertainment. It's like watching a high school game.
You know what?
Doesn't matter who wins.
Right, but here's the thing. I've watched a lot of these games. The one thing I'll say is the one thing about the Giants is you could see that they're a better team than they were before. Like, they were terrible defensively last year. This year, they're actually getting better on defense. I think the offense is taking a step back, but the other teams, they're not better than they were last year. They're either the same or worse. So the one thing I'll give it, I think the Giants are headed in the right direction. What's your thought?
Well, my thought is, watching the game last Sunday, I was very shocked They were showing you how much more effective they are with a quarterback that moves. He's not a stand-in quarterback. They don't have the line to protect him. When he ran with the ball, whether he ran it through it or just ran himself, he got a lot better. But when he drops back that 3-4 steps, they're all over him like flies on candy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why they didn't put more of those plays into the game. Why they didn't run him more. I don't mean running him like a halfback. I'm talking him just snapping the ball and either going right or mostly going right because he's a right-handed passer. Why would you make him stand in it? The line is not really good at all. What do you think?
Well, I agree with that. I agree with moving him around because I think you have to take advantage of one of his strengths. And I think one of his strengths is being mobile. He's more mobile than people give him credit for. And I think it keeps him out of trouble. But I will say I'll disagree a little bit. I don't think the Giants' line is good yet, but I think it's been better the last few weeks. I mean, last week I think he only allowed 4 pressures. I don't think he was sacked. They've been better, and they've faced some good defensive lines. Now they got a long way to go still to be good, and I think that's the thing. But yeah, I agree with you. I think what this team needs is to keep moving him around. Don't keep him in the pocket. Don't keep his feet, and keep him away from harm. And again, I think you might see it more and more. But so far, I haven't liked what I've seen from Jason Garrett. I think his play calling is unimaginative. He has not stretched the field, and I don't think he's done enough to make this team better.
No, but also he's got a lot of injuries. He's got guys. It just seems like every time you get somebody, you got guys who are just starting to come back. Now I don't know. That whole division is just. It's like very weird just watching them. It's like, I agree with you, the Giants' front line is getting better, but I still think until they get better, they should do something with him. I would not let him stand in the pocket.
I agree.
He's not a pocket quarterback now, and he don't have the protection.
Well, I don't think we've seen enough to say he's not, but I would say you're right. Let's not get him killed back there. And I think he's better when his feet are moving and he has the ability to run or pass. Because right now, most people are dropping back on him, and he's got the ability to run. I mean, last week, he took off for 49 yards. He looked great doing it. So the only thing I'll say is he's got to be careful. I've seen him a couple times now dropping the shoulder, which you don't want to see. You don't want to see him dropping the shoulder. Slide, get out of bounds, don't get hurt. And let's keep him healthy because, I like Colt McCoy, their backup. I don't want to see him play. I'd rather see this kid on the field. So we'll see how that plays. But
and as far as the Yankees,
the
Yankees, I think what's his name should be taken from shortstop, put him on second, put DJ back at first.
Yep.
Okay. And they got to get themselves a shortstop. Either they have this other kid coming up from the minors that came up a little while. But he is not I'm sorry. He's not a shortstop.
Yeah, it's hard. Here's the thing. I was not impressed with him, but I also say he went to spring training, then he stopped, they didn't play, then he came back and he was on the field, and it was a crazy year. So I'm afraid to just cast him. But what I saw that I agree with you. I was not a fan of, and I kind of agree that he should go back to second. I think he played very well there. The only problem is, if by putting LeMahieu at first base, you're now making either Voigt's got to get traded, or you're playing Judge and Stanton every day in the outfield because Voigt becomes a DH at that point. So,
well, you can't put Stanton at the outfield. I mean, he's just not an outfielder.
No, I'm not disagreeing, but what do you do with both him and Voigt?
Voigt, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I like Voigt. I think he's a good ball player. But I don't think you're going to go anywhere with him because he's either a home run hitter or he's nothing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on.
He's not really a good first baseman.
No, I agree. I agree. So
you're losing the home run. That's fine. What happens this year when they play the 100? Hopefully they played 162 games.
Yeah.
But what do you do with him?
No.
But I mean, I would rather have DJ on first. He's a better first baseman. He can be moved around the infield.
Yeah.
Where Voigt is just, and his feet, I mean, he looked like he was walking on nails.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you. I think they're better defensively with LeMahieu at first and Glaber at second. Although I think obviously DJ LeMahieu is a much better second baseman than Glaber Torres, but Glaber's got a great bat, so I like to see him stay in the lineup somehow. I think that's the easy way. Otherwise, you got to start thinking. If you're not going to do that, you have to start thinking about trading LeMahieu. I'm sorry, trading Glaber Torres. Now again, that's also the Yankees.
No, you would trade Glaber Torres.
Well, but again, that's also counting on signing DJ LeMahieu. The guy's going to get a lot of money. Are the Yankees going to give him the money that he wants? Somebody will. Do the Yankees have it? I mean, they have to spend some money now in different places. That I agree.
They got the money.
No, it's not that they don't have it, but then anything you're getting over that $218 million. Now you're starting to pay that big amount of tax. Let's get Jeff on. He's just popped up. Let me get Jeff on.
Yeah, sure.
And of course, he's the Hard Rock Sports co-host and my dear friend and the top guy on the show. He's of course my man, Mr. Jeff Tolwinski. What's up, Hefe?
What's up, man? How you doing, Mr. Florio?
I'm good, Jeff. How you doing, buddy?
All right.
What's up, Jeff? How's your week, man?
Not good.
No.
Yeah. Not good at all. The dog and everything. I'm just hoping that we get good news tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're all hoping for that, Jeff. And
What's the matter with the dog?
She's got another eye issue. She already had one eye taken out, and now the other eye's got an issue.
Yeah, I think she's blind. I don't know. But now she just walked across the room downstairs right to me. So I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow.
Well, lots of luck and
I don't want to dwell on it, but let me tell you, Jeff, I got one. I've had it for 4 years. They're very resourceful animals. They'll be blind, and if you just leave them alone, they'll adapt to it. It's not as bad as it is. She's been blind. One eye is gone, and the other one's not really that good at all. But they're very resourceful animals. They're better off than we are. Trust me. So
yeah, I hear you.
They're better.
I just hope for her sake. She's young. She's only 6. So that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I worry about, she could be this way for a long, long time.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's hope for that tomorrow everything goes well and we get good news for Basil. Maybe some eye drops or something, or maybe something down the line will help her out. Let's hope.
She's on drops now, so we'll see.
Absolutely. But we're just talking a little bit. We're just talking a little baseball. We got a little Giants going, Jeff. Let's let you jump in. What's on your mind right now?
Well, you know what? A lot of things. I don't even know where you want to go. I can't believe that. Don't worry about it. Somebody's going to be the sacrificial lamb tonight. You know who that's going to be. The Jets are just disgusting, man. They really are. If there was a way for them to give up the rest of the season and just fold it up and leave, they should consider doing it. New York football is in a shambles. The Giants suck. The Jets suck. The NFC may have a division winner with maybe 4 or 5 wins.
Yeah.
This a division that just can't get fucking going. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Everybody's still in it.
Yeah.
Everybody. I don't understand it.
Giants win tonight. They're just as likely to win this division, and that's not saying that they're a good team. That's just saying that's probably how bad it is. Now, let me ask you, Jeff's always been a big proponent of it. I haven't been, but I'm definitely changing my mind this year. Instead of teams getting seeded based on division winners and then wild cards, should football adopt a seeding of basically the best teams? Let's say the teams that win the most games getting the higher seeds. Where let's say the Giants, win their division with 5 wins or 6 wins, ridiculous. They would not be getting a bye or a home field game. They would be basically the bottom team in this. Do you favor that, or do you think you win your division? You win your division.
You're talking about the old-fashioned way.
Yes.
First, second, third, fourth.
Yes, exactly.
You're talking about how many teams? 16 teams, and but then the NFL's not going to go for it, because if you're a Giant fan and the Giants are way down, you know what I mean. I agree with that. I think it's great. And I have to agree with both of you. That's the way it should be.
No, I'm telling you, normally
I can't see a team winning.
Yeah, normally I don't. I say you win your division. I don't care what it is. But Jeff, I have to go back and agree with you on this. I think, if I look at it, see a team, if I see the Giants or anybody in the NFC East win that division in 6 games and then get a home playoff game against a team that won 9 or 10 or 11 games, I think that's a travesty, Jeff.
It is a travesty, depending on how you look at it. You got to remember something. A division winner is a division winner, regardless of how many games they won, whether they win 16 or they win 6. A division winner is a division winner. I agree with you, but you won the division, you beat out 3 other teams, you should be entitled to something, a home game, whatever. Chances are that team, however many wins they have, that wins at a division like that, 5, 7, 9, whatever, probably going to be out in a round or 2 anyway. If they're lucky, they get out of the first round they're playing in.
Yeah.
I don't see them making it very far.
Yeah, Dad. Oh, I just said that.
I agree with what you're saying. It's very hard. There's no real interest. They're not going to go back to that. Again, you're going back to the 50s and the 60s where first team won and they played in the World Series. But if you did it like hockey, where you put different, that's the way it should be. Because it's sad that a team that finishes with let's say a 9-7 record doesn't get in the playoffs, and a team that wins 4 games winds up in the playoffs. Is being rewarded.
Well, I think that's the point of the whole thing. Yeah, but then again, then at that point, why have divisions at all, other than to make it easier on the schedule? Because at that point, you better have just putting everybody in one conference, everybody in the other conference, and just see how it shakes out. So there's.
Then that takes away.
Have your cake and eat it too.
Well, that's the point. So what's the rub on it?
Home teams in each conference.
But again, you could also just say the top 3 teams have home games. Doesn't matter whether they're West teams, East teams, Central teams. So I'm not sure which way I go with it, but I'm just saying
you need the divisions to see where you have the breakdown of games. You know that the NFC East is going to play 2 times. The Giants are going to play twice. The Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Redskins, and the Jets are going to play the Bills, Dolphins, and Patriots twice. And then the rest of their schedule, the way they have it rotated, where you play a division, NFC West this year. Next year, you're going to play the AFC Central or something.
I agree, but then it's tough to do that. But hey, guys, before I forget, make sure about 8 o'clock, we're going to have a discussion on what's the greatest guitar solo of all time. That's right after our Ross the Boss interview at 7:45. So make sure you stick around for that. We got a whole bunch of music to get to tonight. Lots of sports to get to. Dad, before I let you go, I got to ask you, the baseball came out this week and said, hey, we're leaning to leave in all these different changes we made, the changes for the playoffs, the runner at second base in extra innings, 7-inning doubleheaders. Dad, you watched it all. The World Series is winding up. Any of that stuff, would you keep any of it? Do you like any of it? Would you go back to regular baseball next year?
DH.
Okay.
I like the DH.
Okay.
I also like the part. The guy, I thought I wouldn't like the guy on second base, but I got to be honest with you. I've seen them fail more than they did it. They used it good.
Okay.
I never see anybody bunt them over. I never seen anybody try to bunt the guy over.
No, absolutely not.
Whether it was the Yankees, Mets, whoever.
Yeah. No, I agree. So
I would say I don't know. I like what I see.
Yeah, I tell you what, I don't like the playoffs. I think too many teams in the playoffs is no good. I think at some point,
and I agree.
If you water it down, there's got to be something for the regular season, especially in baseball with such a long season, 162 games. The fact that you get everybody, more than half the division, it feels like gets in. To me, it weakens it. It waters it down. So I am not a fan of that. Like I hope they don't keep that, but I think they will. I think they feel that that'll be a moneymaker for them, and I think that's Jeff. I think if you're Major League Baseball, you think you found the treasure trove, and you're going to try to get as many teams in the playoffs as you can.
Well, baseball sucks, so you need to get something to draw people in. What better way to draw people in than by putting more teams into the playoffs? They're not playing baseball. I heard your old man just say now that nobody bunted a runner over from second to try to third. They're not playing baseball. They're not. They're playing Madden baseball.
Yeah.
They want to hit home runs and everything else. So why not give the people what they want? You know what I mean? You're not going to get a purist version of baseball anymore. That's done. It's over with.
Listen, I agree with that part of it. You know, Dad, the one thing I wound up liking that I didn't think I would, and people can think I'm crazy, but if you stuck with a doubleheader, I didn't mind the 7-inning doubleheader. I have to be honest with you. I don't know why, but the rest.
I don't see the difference. Tom.
Well,
because I don't want to go back into the old days, but I remember as kids and everything, every Sunday was a doubleheader. Every Sunday was a doubleheader.
I agree with you, but it's different time now, and
you young guys
yeah.
should be playing baseball. I mean, let's put it this way. I'm not saying it's an easy sport. We all know it's not an easy sport, but come on, 2 more innings. And how many times, I don't know.
Yeah, again, other than that, I didn't think I liked the runner on second base, but it wasn't terrible. I do like the DH in both leagues. So a lot of that stuff. The one thing I hope they throw out is the playoffs, and I think that's the one thing for sure you're going to get is more teams in the playoffs. Same like the baseball as football next year. Football's going to give you the extra game. You're going to get the extra wild card team, and it's just going to keep watering it down. And I understand why. The more games on TV, the more money they make, and as long as people are watching it, they're going to do it. So until you stop watching it,
the 7-inning doubleheader.
I'm going to wish you a lot of luck, buddy. Okay, and being that we'll be praying for her and hope everything's all right. Tommy, I'll talk to you over the weekend. Jeff, you take care and be good.
Thanks, Pops.
Talk to you later.
See you later, Pop. That's my daddy checks in every week. I love having him on. Last week was his birthday. He came on, spent some time with us, and I got to hang out with him last Friday night and had some Chinese with him. So, Jeff, finish what you were saying, the 7-inning doubleheader.
I don't like it. First of all, I know there was more doubleheaders this year than in previous seasons because they were trying to jam games in there and everything else, and that's understandable.
Yep.
Okay? But I think that maybe what they should do going forward is maybe a doubleheader happens once a month, at a promotional game for each team or whatever, like have one on Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day weekends, something of that nature. Because you only usually see the doubleheaders, it seems, in the beginning of the season. You don't see them in the height of the season, very rarely.
Again, you're absolutely right. It used to be like my dad said, you would catch them on a Sundays, and they would have them here and there. Now they only do it to make up rainouts, and it's only very, very rare. But yeah, this year there was a ton of them. Again, I maybe it's because this year it just seemed like there were so many of them that you just didn't care. But I think the one thing I'll take away is from these seasons is too many teams in the playoffs. I get why they did it. It's for all the sports, and the ratings were terrible. All the leagues so far, including the NFL, ratings are way down.
The ratings are terrible for a reason.
Yes,
the ratings are terrible not because of how many teams get in the playoffs or whatever.
Has nothing to do with it.
It's all because of the political stances that these leagues and teams and players have taken. That they're chasing away their own fan base. Now, a lot of people, such as yourself, don't like certain things, and that's fine. But you also sitting there saying that there's certain things that you like, so you can't have everything. That's one thing.
No, absolutely not.
That being said, it's if they're going to experiment, then a shortened season, a shortened tainted season like this was a good spot to do it. Like putting the runner at second base, I don't like that. Come on, that's like saying, you know what? One time a game, I get to field the runner at second base if the home team so chooses it, if they're down by 3 runs and it's a Thursday afternoon and they're playing, something stupid like that.
I get it.
I just don't. Come on, man. That's not.
Listen. You know what, Jeff? Here's the only thing I would tell you. Here's the only reason why I would say it works, and it does. Again, I'm a purist. I like the game the way it was. The only thing I wish they keep for sure would be double-headed DHs in both leagues. But the one thing I'll say is, if you're a semi-fan of the game, you'll lose most of those fans in extra innings. But the runner on second keeps you because you think it's going to end quick. So that's the only thing I'll say. Am I a fan of changing this game? Absolutely not. I think there's too many teams in the playoffs. I want there to be less teams. I want the regular season in every sport to mean something, to mean a lot. You have to compete.
But it does. It still mean something. Listen.
It means less. I didn't say it means nothing. It just means less.
If you get into the playoffs and you're the last team in the playoffs, how did they do it? If there was 8 teams in each league, did 8 play 1, 7 play 2, 6, something like that? Okay. So now, why do you want to finish 8th and have to take on the top ranked team. So let's just say that the eighth place team finishes 81 and 81, but the first place team finished 109 and 53 or something like that. Now you want to go play a team that it was 20 games over 500 more than you? Like, I wouldn't want to fucking do that. You know what I mean?
I get it, but I also say that you go from six teams or 7 teams in the playoffs to 8, then you're getting in that next team who, instead of being 9 and 7, is 7 and 9. You know, and now their season means, you know, that, you know, just at some point there has to be a thing where having to play well in a regular season means something more. Now again, I get it. Whether you get 8 or 7 or 9 teams, you know, they're all playing hard, but it just.
Of course it means, but you know what? It also gives more meaning to the word Cinderella team. You know, the New York Giants were a Cinderella team. They won the Super Bowl twice, and they were a wild card team.
Those teams won 10 games. The Giants won 10 games and were a wild card.
They were 9 and 7, weren't they?
No, 10 and 6, I believe, both years.
And you don't want to cheapen it, right?
Correct. I want to cheapen it.
Okay, here we go.
What's cheap about being 10 and 6 and being a wild card team?
Well, nothing. But what cheapens it is when your quarterback is afraid he's going to get decapitated and he's fucking chucking the ball up for dear life, and he just so happens to throw it in the vicinity of somebody.
You really are a jerk-off. You really
come on now.
You really are a jerk-off. You know what? The Giants played their asses off. They beat the best team.
But there's more. There's more. How about when the Rangers played the Canucks and the Canucks took them to 7 games?
Okay.
They were an 8-seeded team.
Again, I'm not complaining that I love the underdog. I love that team that nobody's expecting to run it out. I got it. But if you keep bringing in more and more teams, then it doesn't matter what the regular season, you're going to get in.
Listen, there does have to be a cap on the amount of teams. Okay, you can't bring in all 16 teams in the NFL and figure out a way to fucking work it from there. That's not going to work. We know that. But if you're talking 1 or 2 extra teams like they did now, all right. Let's see how it works. Let's see what happens. You know, maybe it gives you a team. Let's just say that the Giants somehow, some way, miraculously make it into the playoffs at 1 in fucking 16 or whatever it is, because that's the way that division's playing. A 1-win team may actually win.
Well, the Cowboys already have 2, so it has to be at least 2.
All right, so at least 2.
Just saying, there has to be at least 2.
The halfway point of the season and the 2-game winner is at first place.
Scary.
God.
Scary.
So anyway, but let's just say that, you know, the Giants were that 2-game winner. And then all of a sudden, here they come. The playoffs come. Now they just start to fucking play. It took them 16 weeks to fucking learn how to play. Now they're playing, and bang, here they are. They're here in the playoffs, and they're making noise, and they're a team to be reckoned with. Are you, as a Giant fan, now going to turn around and say that this is not good? This shouldn't be this way?
No, but will you? No, I won't. No, I listen. My team wins the Super Bowl. They win. If they win 6 regular season games, 5 regular season games, get in the playoffs, and go on a streak, I'm in. But for you, Jeff, the Giant hater, the guy who hates the Giants, will you say, "Oh, this is tainted. This doesn't mean anything"? Go ahead. Take off the glasses. Go ahead.
I can't see because of the light of the fucking computer, right? That sucks. Yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't say anything. And I'll tell you why I wouldn't say anything. Because it's such a dick. The Giants would probably lose in the playoffs. And I'm fine with that. So put them in there at 6 and 400, whatever it is. And then this way, they're probably going to get bounced their first game.
But if they win, let's say they make a run and they go, let's say they fall short. They lose the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, whatever. Are you going to say, "Oh, this is tainted. They should never even been there. They've won 6 games"? Because then that gives credence to my part of the story. So I'm curious on your end, if the Giants were to get there and it's the Thursday before the Super Bowl and you and I are having this conversation and I go, "This is great. The Giants are going to have a chance to win the Super Bowl." Are you going to say to me, "I don't care if they win. This sucks. There's 6 wins. They shouldn't even be here"? What are you going to say to that?
You really think I'm going to give you an honest answer right now?
I would hope that you're better than the mainstream media that is just lies and deceitful and you'd actually sit there and go, you know what? I'm going to give you the honest answer. So I want you, Jeff Kowinski, my friend of 40 years, give me the honest answer. If the Thursday night before the Super Bowl, the New York Football Giants are ready to play, are you going to say, hey, they deserve to be here?
Trump colluded with Russia. That's all I have to say.
Oh, my God. High Rockets 1-347-826-9934 on the radio side, of course, on the live stream. Jeff Kowinski, Tom Florio. We're going to be having our good friend Ross the Boss on for in a couple seconds.
Yeah, I mean, look, what is this, like the 16th time in a row this guy's on? He's like on every other week.
I think at this point, Ross is an official co-host of the show. I'm going to have to put him on the marquee and put him on the thing. So we're going to have some fun with Ross in a minute. But, guys, remember, we're up against a lot tonight. You got the Giants-Eagles coming on in a little bit. I think 8:30. You got the big debate. And, here, Jeff, I did my political rant at the beginning, so I'm not going to get that far into this. But the one thing I'm going to hope is that I want to hear from people tonight, on the show. Guys, whether you believe it or you don't believe it, does the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scandal, does it deserve to be investigated? Does the mainstream media owe it to this country to at least dig in? I think they do. Whether you want to believe it or not, I believe that people have to treat this with as much dogged determination to find out the truth as they did with Russia and Ukraine and every other thing. And I think that if they don't, they're doing themselves this country a huge injustice, Jeff. But that's my opinion.
Well, first of all, when they investigated Trump for all of the things that you mentioned, he was already president. Biden's not in office yet. If he wins and he gets into office, then they may want to revisit it and see exactly what could transpire and then investigate.
But I disagree. What you want to find that out before he gets into office to know that he was a lying cheat and that he scammed this country before you vote him in?
Listen, first of all, any politician in my eyes has a little bit of a dark side.
This is not a little dark side, Jeff. This is a lot of dark side.
Yeah. No matter how bad it is, they all have a little something. That's one thing.
Okay.
Second, is it worth the problem now, 2 weeks before you're not going to get an answer?
No.
It took them how many years to get an answer if Trump colluded with Russia, yes or no? It took them how many years to get that answer? And people still don't believe it. So now, if you start to do this investigation now, 2 weeks before the election, what happens if you have to remove Biden? Okay, now although the elections get postponed, because how is Kamala Harris, who would I guess would be the next, one for the Democrats to step up? Or now, who does she pick? What does the platforms change?
Jeff, I know it caused it, but all I'm saying is I'm not saying you have to impeach the guy now. He's not even president yet. I'm not saying that you have to take him off the ticket. But all I say is you have to at least dig in, present the information to the public, and let them make their own decision at this point. Otherwise, you're doing this country injustice. And listen, let's not turn this. We got a guest on there, but
no matter what happens, it's injustice, Tom. You're never going to get the truth on any of this stuff. You know that.
Well, again, all I say is get the information out there. But you know what? Speaking of getting information out, Jeff, let's get some information out on our guest, our good friend Ross the Boss. He's got some stuff coming up, so I want to play that for you now before we get him on, and let's get to play a little something about Death Dealer and their upcoming album Conquered Lands, coming out November 13th.
Steel Cartel presents Death Dealer.
What's up, everybody? Ross the Boss here, and I'm here to tell you that Death Dealer is back. I just want to tell you that Conquered Lands, our new record, will rip your face off.
There by your side, you stand in the days. Please order Conquered Lands now at DeathDealerMetal.com and get access to the exclusive Ultimate Conqueror Packs.
Conquered Lands comes out November 13th. Pre-order it now.
Raise your horns high my Death Dealer is back.
And that's our good friend Ross the Boss. And let's not hold him up any longer. Hold on, let me just clear up the screen. And let's get him back. He's now the unofficial third co-host of the Hard Rock and Sports Show. He is Ross the Boss. Ross, welcome back, brother.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you guys?
Good, man. How are you?
It's good to be
Sounds
back.
pretty good, man. I like it.
Yeah. All right.
Very good.
I was listening to you guys there for a while. It was pretty interesting.
Ross, it's a very interesting time. Again, I never want to put the guest on the spot, but I'll ask you just a simple question. No asking you to do any political stuff here, but do you at least think that this should be the media, the mainstream media, just stick the toe in the water a little bit instead of saying that there's nothing to it without investigating?
Well, you see, when it came out, when the story broke, and Twitter and Facebook immediately says it did, they just flushed it off their sites. They just, to me, that is a flagrant violation of the First Amendment. I mean, it's true that they are private companies and they can do what the fuck they want, but I mean, the way they just flushed it away, you can't listen to this. You're not entitled to hear this.
Right. And I think that's to me is the injustice of it all, is that at least, they had no problem putting the Russian and Ukraine stuff out there. They've had no, but also now it's, well, we can't verify it. But again, nobody's tried. And that's, to me, it's censorship and it's tilting the scale in a direction it shouldn't be. And, listen, it is what it is. But I think.
Listen, I have my own opinions about that Hunter Biden and with all that collusion. He did get $3.5 million from that lady in Russia.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
This stuff is not being made up.
Nope.
It's just, I'm just going to get $3.5 million. It's okay. I mean, you get it every day, right? You get it. You guys get $3.5 million from Russia.
Jeff just got it today. He got it from the Mayor de Blasio. The Mayor de Blasio gave him $3.5 million, Jeff. I heard.
Because your last name is
That's why
Biden.
I'm here with you two guys right now with $3.5 million in the bank.
Because your last name is Biden, I mean, you just get it. I mean, I don't know.
Hey, listen, I'm not saying the guy's guilty. I just say it deserves to be investigated. That's all I say. I'm not telling you he's guilty.
Yes, yourself, though, Tom. You say even if they started to investigate it, it's too close to the election. What are they going to get? You're not going to get an answer.
I'm not talking about the government. I'm saying is that the newspapers.
But even if the newspapers bring it up,
let the newspapers publish it. Let see what, let people see what's on the hard drive.
They're not going to fucking say anything of what he does.
Well, but Jeff, that's the problem
against Trump,
right? But that's the point. That's my point. I think Ross is feeling the same way.
I mean, the media is so slanted in one direction that it's not fair. It's just not fair. When conservative sites are always taken down, conservative sites are always fucked with. Your subscribers, your the numbers. You're defunded. But the other side isn't. So I mean, I would just like fair treatment for both.
All agree too, but Russ, you got plenty to talk about, and we got, and again for your, we're celebrating your 200th visit to the Hard Rock and Sports Show tonight.
I want to know that sound, those sounds you're hearing. I'm at the cage now, and sports are taking place. Thank God.
Thank God is right. Hey Russ, a couple of things before we get into the album, and Jeff said it really sounds great, and I got a lot of stuff to ask you about.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, we lost one of the greats, if not the greatest, Eddie Van Halen. I wanted to get your take on it, and also tonight we're going to be talking about the greatest solos of all time, excluding yours because I'm sure you got a few that you'd put up there. But I want to get your take on what you think is the greatest solo you have ever listened to. But give us a take on Eddie's passing and what influences, if any, it had on you.
Well, the thing about Eddie Van Halen is we came up at the same time.
Right.
I think he was 65. I'm 66 right now.
Okay.
We're from the same era, and we're from the same influences. The same.
Okay.
You can tell. I mean, I just I was heavily influenced in the blues and Eric Clapton and the Cream and Black Sabbath and Eddie Van Halen was the same thing. I mean, it's like you can hear it. I mean, the way his technique was just those tapping techniques were very, very influential. Very, very influential. Very influential.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't discount his amazing techniques, his keyboard playing, an amazing musician from Holland, and him and his brother. So incredible.
Yeah, gone way too long. Gone way too soon. Way too soon.
Well, you can't chain smoke cigarettes.
Listen, we'll just say Eddie, I think, did whatever he wanted to do, and I say people should live their life any way they want, and there are repercussions. And I guess Eddie's found his with the untimely passing. But listen, his mark will be here forever. I think the outpouring was amazing, and that guy. But yes, you abuse yourself. That someone online that's going to come back to haunt you, Ross. I think that we all pretty much agree with that one.
Well, you can't. Well, I knew from an early age you shouldn't be smoking cigarettes. I knew that because my mother was a chain smoker, and that's what she died from.
Oh,
that really turned me the fuck right off to cigarettes. Can you give me a second, guys?
Sure, go ahead.
Give me a second.
Go ahead, Ross. So, Jeff, talking about that, we're going to get into the solos later, but
yeah, I'm interested in that because I saw your post on Facebook and some of the things that people wrote. I mean, yeah, they're great solos, but I don't know, man. I don't know if they're worthy of being the number one solo.
Well, that's the question. Listen. Obviously, it comes down to your preference. Okay, so I get that. What makes it stand out for you? But to me, it's got to be something where you go, oh, it's comfortably numb. It's iconic. To me, that it's got to be a little special. Now, my friend Matt was talking about Richie Sambora stuff, and I think Richie Sambora is a good guitar player, and he's got some good solos. But I wouldn't go, wow, that's iconic. Like you hear that and you hear it everywhere. You know what I mean? Like that's what I was looking for.
When Bon Jovi specifically was, their big push was a Jersey band, and they were geared more towards the girls at the time when they came out.
Oh, sure.
So even if their stuff was great, I don't know how seriously they might have been taken at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I get it.
I don't know. Is anybody going to put? I mean, I seen what he wrote about, Sambora being 1A to Van Halen, and
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's in the sun too much, or he got hit with a fucking kicking.
Well, here's the thing. It's kind of like your question from a couple weeks ago. I wasn't looking for best guitar players. I was looking for best solos.
No, I know, but I mean, even at that, but like the one thing I will agree with him that he said was it's everybody's opinion.
Absolutely.
Just because we're like,
guys, I'm sorry. Just give me
I don't see.
No problem, Ross. Yeah, do what you got to do, brother.
I don't see that as a worthy opinion, but that's not my call. That's me. That's you. You know what I mean?
But I wanted to get less. It's like anything else. I don't expect everybody to come on here and say that Eruption is the greatest solo of all time. I want to hear the diversity. I want to hear people's opinion on things. Now, what you look for is what's the solo that most people are picking? You have 20 people and 15 of them said, Comfortably Numb, or 15 said Eruption. Then and that doesn't still make it, but it gives you the majority of people. That's what I was just trying to see what kind of reactions I was going to get, which, some people were talking about Stevie Ray Vaughan. Some people were talking about obviously Richie Sambora and Eddie Van Halen and Stairway to Heaven. So I was just looking to kind of get a little interactive. That's all.
Well, yeah. When you listen, you bring up Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan. Check out the solo he plays on Texas Flood. It'll make you cry.
Yeah, and
it's unbelievable.
And to me, it's not always like I will tell you. I would not put anything from Malmsteen in. To me, it's not. It's not
feeling.
Correct. So it's not necessarily about speed or whatever. It's about the feeling. It's about the melody. It's about the tempo. It's about grabbing you with the hooks. But speaking of grabbing you with the hooks, let's get Ross back on and start talking about Death Dealer and, of course, their new album that's coming out November 13th. I had a couple of questions on the album, but tell everybody here about Death Dealer and you and Sean and Stu and Steve and Mike. How did you guys get together, and how did you come up with this new album? This is the third album for this band, right?
Third album. So it was about I had already done 2 Ross the Boss records with AFM. I done 2008, 28, New Metal Leader, and 2010 I did Hailstorm, and then I took a break for a while. Because the band was from Germany, so I was figured out maybe I want an American band.
Right.
Nothing on them, no shade on those guys, but
right.
They were great guys. So around 2011, was it? around there, I get a call from this guy Sean Peck, who I never heard of. I you know, heard of Sean. He goes, I want you in my band. It's going to be called Death Dealer. I said, that's a great name, and it's got, you know, Rhino already's in, and ex-Manowar drummer, and it's got, you know, Mike Davis, an old bass player, and this guy Stu Marshall from Australia. So I said, okay, all right, sounds good. All right. So the next night, I get a call from Stu Marshall from Australia, and he goes, Mike, I love you, Mike. You're my favorite guitar player from, you know, you have Hail to England's one of my favorite albums of all time. You're my idol, you know. And it's like, I said, great, Stu. I said, send me some music. It's either going to be Ross the Boss or KK Downing they want in the band.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So I think I think you should forget about KK because he's retired.
Yeah.
So Stu sent me some music, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. And, you know, it was the thing that I didn't have to be the main guy in the band. I mean, I didn't have to be the main songwriter, which is, I like that. I mean, my own band to do that, you know. And so it was like, all right, you're going to, you know, and it's going to be funded and everything. And, yeah, so I love the songs. The first album, War Master. So I said, yeah, I'm in. So we did 2 records. We did War Master and Hallowed Ground.
Yep.
And now we're ready to release the 3rd record, November 13th.
Yeah, and again, we heard the clip in the announcement, and listen, it's stuff kicks ass. Let me ask you this: when you do write for the band, and do you I'm assuming you do write for this band. Do you write differently? Do you sit down? How do you come up with? Well, this belongs to Ross the Boss band. This belongs to Death Deal. Is there a conversation in your head?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that there are certain vibes that I could see Sean singing, and there's certain things that I could see Mark singing. So,
okay.
But, you know, as I said before, I'm not the main songwriter in Death Dealer. It's Stu Marshall. So, I mean, who wrote a song on my new record anyway, Maidens and Shadows.
Yes.
Yeah, with Mark. But it's kind of an incestuous relationship. It's, you know, we have 3/5 of Ross the Boss band and Death Dealer.
I was just going to say, you know, it's kind of it's Ross the Boss with Stu Marshall and, you know, Sean Peck. So I get it. So, but that's fine because and the bands, while different, you know, have the vibe that's common. Yeah,
we have the same rhythm section, and yes, Mike LaPond and Steve Bowley are great. Bass and drums are amazing. So I agreed to be in the band, and the first tour we did, you'll see some of that footage. Those big crowds, the Metal All Stars tour of Eastern Europe, and I was a Metal All Star. Okay, I'm on the bill, Ross the Boss Manual, right?
Right.
Joey Belladonna and Zach Wilde and Max Cavalera, Ross the Boss, and so Sean got Death Dealer to open the whole tour. So our whole first tour was an arena tour in Eastern Europe.
Wow.
And we found ourselves playing in front of thousands of people every night. So I was actually opening for myself.
Jeff, I think Jeff's open for himself, but that's usually in the confines of his house, locked up. So I don't think Jeff that qualifies.
No, it does not qualify, man. I've played in front of my dog a couple times since the pandemic started, but that's it. It's been kind of quiet.
Okay, we're here with Ross the Boss here, Jeff Tom, and all of you hanging in there, guys. I hope you'll stick around. You can keep the TV on for the Giant game. We're going to talk to Ross about the Giants and the Mets real quick tonight because I think it's both relevant. But we're talking about Death Dealer and Conquered Lands coming out November 13th. So we hope you guys will get out there. Go to rosstheboss.com. I'm sure that Ross will give us a few more ways you can get it. So Ross, now that the album's coming out, you're promoting. Is it loosening up anywhere in the world where you guys can get out and start playing? Because it seems like Europe's starting to lock down again. Brazil's locking down. So United States may be the only place soon that you can play, and you can't play here yet.
Well, you can play in like a drive-in theaters, with your car.
Yeah, so that
some bands are doing that.
That's got to be tough for a metal band to do a drive-in, Ross. I got to be honest. You'd be better off doing something in the batting cage.
That's right. I could do something here if I wanted to. I'm like, I don't know. It's pretty discouraging. I got to tell you. You see, you get a lot of guys that music is the only thing they do. You know,
Yeah.
That's all they've been doing for all their whole lives, including theater, the theater groups.
Yeah.
They shut down in New York City. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just unbelievable. And all the tertiary businesses that are following, you know, the theater district and the music business,
Yeah.
clubs, and, you know, they're not going to reopen again, a lot of these places.
No, of course not.
Able to pay their rents for
The Metropolitan Opera is not doing anything until September of 2021. Broadway plays, the earliest any Broadway play is going to open up is going to be in the summer or late spring or summer of 2021. You're talking 6-7 months away before they'll even start talking about it. That's if you're lucky.
Yeah, I think this. I personally think, I hate to say it, that 2021 is out too. I hate to say it because I'm losing fucking fortunes, but I mean, I can't see it. The masses returning to shows unless the masses are immunized with this bullshit, which is not as bad as everyone makes it out to be.
Listen, you won't hear. Listen, you gotta be careful with Jeff. Jeff's boss and his idol is Bill De Blasio, so we have to be very careful what we say here. Jeff's a big De Blasio guy.
Slow the fuck down. That's stupid. Don't be fucking stupid. That's one thing. Second of all, when there's 40 million fucking people worldwide that have the virus, but only 1 million people that died, I'll take those chances any fucking day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
And I'm sorry, what? Half of those millions of people died of cancer, heart attacks, motorcycle accidents, fucking getting bit by birds, and fucking allergic to shrimp, and they all fucking died.
That's true. You know, listen, it's horrible that anyone died of this, and it's terrible. You know, I don't take any, but it's like the fatality rates are down, and you know, the treatments are much better. They're coming up with. They have a lot of new treatments that are great. I mean, our president showed it.
Yep, absolutely.
They just announced one on TV earlier tonight. They came up with a drug now that helps speed up the healing or recovery process.
Right.
Stop the disease. I forget what the drug was called, but they just approved it with
Remdesivir.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Remdesivir.
That may be it. That may be it. I don't.
Right, and there's a whole bunch of new stuff, and the vaccines are on their way. I mean, the Operation Warp Speed. I mean, they did what they did.
Yeah.
Are you going to take, if that vaccine comes out, do you feel safe enough to take that vaccine?
I would, yes, I would, if they said it was right. But I haven't gotten it yet. I have to get myself tested. I don't know if I have an immunity. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never taken a flu shot ever.
Neither have I.
I haven't had the flu, and I mean, I you know, why? I don't know. Why fuck with something if I'm not? It's not broken. I mean,
listen, you know, I had COVID. It actually canceled. I had it. You canceled one of your appearances. We had to reschedule, but I will not get the. I do not see myself ever getting the shot. I've never gotten a flu shot. And listen, I think people should get it if you feel like you need to. But I've had it. I don't know if I can get it again. Nobody seems to know. So, but you know, screw it. I'm not going for it.
I wouldn't get the fucking vaccine only because there's no fucking. They haven't been out long enough to know what's going to happen in 3 years. Are we going to wake up one day and you're going to have a twin on your shoulder that's going to pop out of nowhere, or you're going to get cancer? I don't need that kind of shit.
I listen. I can't argue that. But you know, Russ, let you know. So okay, so you write the album. Now you don't even know if you could tour. Does it mean? Okay, maybe you go back and you guys sit back and you write another album. Do you take some time? I mean, obviously this one's not even out yet, but you know, with no prospects of a show yet, what
here's the thing right now? Here's the great thing about Death Dealer. Albums 4 and 5 are done pretty much.
Wow. Okay.
So 4, I'm recording 4 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow.
So I think our strategy for Death Dealer is going to be, we're going to put that out November next month, and then we'll put out another one close to when we start touring.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll tour on both records.
That'd be great.
Now the boss things. My story is Born of Fire. Got put out March 6th, right in the middle of the year. And it was like it's still, to me, it's still a new record, and we're gonna tour on that when we start doing it again. So.
Yeah, so if it ever gets started up again, you're going to be one very busy man.
Yeah, and plus I have the Dictators going too. So I'm going to have 3 bands that are going to be able to tour. So I'm like, I'm happy. I'm really happy about that whole situation. I just want the music business to get back started again, because there are a lot of people that are hurting badly right now, and they don't know what to do. I don't know. You know.
You know, Russ, beside the bands themselves, and there are, your the people, your roadies, sound guys, lighting guys, people in the arenas, in the stadiums, and the venues, all those people would only do better. And I'll tell you right now, guys, mark my prediction: November 4th, things will all of a sudden will magically start to evaporate, and you're going to start seeing after the first of the year. I guarantee you're going to start to see things open up again, one way or the other, because I'm telling you, this is strictly, blue states trying to keep everybody down right now, keep the economy down, and I firmly believe that.
If that's the case, then why isn't the rest of the fucking country opening up?
Jeff, everybody is.
No, the red states,
yeah.
red states.
Television, 215,000 businesses have reopened since September.
Yeah. Jeff, you can go to a bowling alley. You can go to movie theaters in Jersey, but you can't go to a movie theater in New York. Why?
I know that, but
I'm just saying is
you could go to a restaurant, walk through a restaurant with a mask on, and then get to your table, sit down so you can eat, and then that's cool.
Yeah.
You go up to, and if you go to take a leak, you got to put your fucking mask back on. And then while you're sitting there, they come with a piece of paper and have you fucking put all your information down.
Yeah.
In case your waiter gets fucking COVID, he can contact you.
The second guy,
Yeah. Listen, Jeff, we all know there's a lot of hypocrisy in this. We all know there's a lot of politics in this. And somewhere in the middle of this is the truth, and I don't know where it is.
Because if that's the case, that they're going to open everything up, then the president needs to turn around and say, listen, you open up. Go ahead, open up whatever you want. Movie theaters, bowling alleys, concert venues, bars, restaurants, whatever. Churches, synagogues, whatever. You could sit on a fucking plane. My wife went to California 2 weeks ago. Sit on a fucking plane with God knows hundreds of how many other people, but yet you can't go to fucking church. Or
and to defend
the strange thing about this whole deal, is you can go to Home Depot.
Yes.
You can go to a riot.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But going to election, going to your poll, that might be a little dangerous.
I'm going.
A little dangerous.
I'm voting in person, November 3rd. I'm going.
Never went online at my place. Never. I'm right here. My son's old public school.
Yeah.
I never waited online.
Me too. And I don't care if I have to.
Yeah. So
I'm
what
gonna.
the fuck? I mean,
listen, I waited online to go into Home Depot. That's what I did during the pandemic. I went to Home Depot for something to do every Saturday. I had nothing else to do.
Right. If you want to peacefully protest and smash in the cop cars, that's fine. That's fine.
I agree. Agreed. Hey, Russ, let me ask you one thing more about the album. Guys, Conquered Lands coming out November 13th. Make sure you get out there and support it. You're putting only 3 songs out on the streaming platforms, and then the rest is basically going to be an old school campaign directed to reach metal supporters and long-term engagement. Explain that to us.
See that?
Yes. Very cool.
Great artwork. Yeah. So we're sick and tired of Spotify and the digital platforms. I mean, we really are. I mean, because you never see anything from it, and it's like, why give them your record so they could steal it? That's basically what you're doing.
Right.
Sean had an idea of getting all the metal labels and starting an online streaming service for just the metal bands.
Right.
We can pay them better and pay ourselves better. But I mean, it's just a total ripoff. And so Death Dealer, we're going to give three songs to Spotify and the other digital platforms. And if you want the rest, you gotta fucking buy it.
I'm all for that. I tell you, Russ, Jeff and I tell us anything. Now, I still buy albums. I still go to there's a local music store right over not far from my house. I go there. It's a mom and pop type place, and I buy albums. I just went about a week and a half ago, and I picked up an old album that I didn't have anymore for some reason. But the point,
old-fashioned way,
There you go. But the point of it
What is that? We haven't seen one of those in a while. What is that strange thing you're holding?
It's called a CD.
Oh,
I heard of those things.
My friend sent me his band. They call Martyr. They're from Holland.
You know what, Russ? Here's the funny part. See your CD. If you put everything out the live on a streaming platform, people will tend to get 1, maybe 2 songs, and then they kind of fade off from it. But when you have to buy the whole thing, you invest in it, you're going to listen to the whole thing, and now you're going to discover. And I think that's the thing. We've talked about this before, Jeff and I. The thing of our youth was buying an album and discovering not the A side or the B side song, but that D side song, that song that nobody was talking about that you discover. And that's what's missing from today.
I got a great story. I was doing an interview with this gentleman from England today, right? And he goes, "What's the first record you ever bought?" I go, "The first record that Ross the Boss ever bought was Sgt. Pepper's."
Wow.
The day it came out, I was flipped out. I heard this hype about the band because we were all fucking Beatle fanatics.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the Bronx. I took the four bus right to Fordham Road, went to Alexander's, right?
Wow.
Alexander's, wow, holy shit,
Fordham
man.
Road, and bought Sgt. Pepper's. I couldn't wait till I got it home and play it on my Victrola for me and my sister. And what I listened to, I opened that cover and saw them like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what the? And it's like the colors and the artwork and that the Sgt. Pepper. What is this? And then the song started peeling off that fucking record. I'm like,
yep.
That changed the world that day. And that was the first record I ever bought.
Wow, Jeff, What was the first record you ever bought with your own money? Not somebody bought it for you. You bought.
Man, I don't know. It might have been Paranoid from Sabbath, or I think it was either Michael Schenk or Michael Schenker Group, the second album, MSG. One of those two was my first album.
Nice.
Good way to break it there.
There you go. You go. Good. Hard Rock and Sports, Jeff, Tom, and of course the third co-host of the Hard Rock and Sports Show. Officially, I think at this point, Roast the Boss. Make sure, guys, again, roasttheboss.com for Concord Lands coming out for Death Dealer. He's also got his band, Roast the Boss Band, the Dictators. Make sure you keep up with Ross. He's never dull. And Ross, tell everybody where the batting cage is. We can promote the batting cage too. We Hard Rock and Sports.
Sure. We're in the Cage Baseball. We're in the Middle Village. 62-40 Metropolitan Avenue, right in the middle. You know why they call Middle Village?
Why?
Because it's in the middle.
Nice.
That, right?
I think you deserve to be in the De Blasio administration with that kind of logic. So, hey, Ross, before we let you go, I got to ask. So, two things: Mets. Are you excited about the Cohen buying the team? Do you think that automatically this makes the Mets a better team going forward? They'll spend the money, or will they not spend it wisely, which is probably one of the bigger problems.
Could it make it any worse?
Wilpon's going has got to be a step up. It'd be like James Dolan selling the Knicks. I think this is right behind that with the Wilpon selling this team.
Yeah, I think we're due for a change, and I just how much longer can you go? Just continually to lose. And the Mets got a lot of good parts to their teams.
Yeah.
They got a lot of nice parts, a lot of nice players, a lot of good pitching. They got to put it together. That's the secret of sports.
Yeah.
Putting it together. It's like a musicians. It's like you could be the best fucking musicians in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could be the best guitar player in the fucking world, which I'm one of them, and I'm like it. I've been told that a couple of times.
Listen, you've done enough to pat yourself on the back, and it's fine. Nobody's going to think any less of you, I promise.
Never boast about myself. But, you could be the best guitar player in the world, fast, blazing fast. But if you're not in a band, if you can't get yourself into a band, and the band is got chemistry, band delivers live, right? It doesn't matter how good you are, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather take 5 lesser musicians that have great chemistry together and soul. So a baseball team, sometimes a sports team doesn't have to be all superstars.
Nope. No.
We've seen that movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Chemistry means a ton in sports. I think any team gets a chemistry or a little mojo, and that can replace. Sometimes teams of superstars have very rarely ever won it all or been the best team. Let's face
it. How long the Yankees were buying players and they never won.
Absolutely.
Until Joe Torre came in with the farm team.
Yeah, pretty much
with the homegrown players. That whole era, with Jeter and Posada and and the rest of those guys. It was great. So that run was fantastic. But there's no guarantee that you have super talent win.
It's agreed. And yeah, Jeff, you were going to say something, Jeff.
Yeah, if you remember about 20 years ago, I don't know if Russ, if you're a Ranger fan, New York Rangers, but the Rangers had nothing but captains and alternates on their team. Shane Sherler, Brian Skridlin, the whole bunch of guys like that, and they sucked.
Yeah.
And these guys were all captains wherever else they went. And it's like everybody must have felt they were a little bit above the guy next to them, and it just didn't work out for them.
Too many Chiefs or no
exactly. No Indians at all.
And you know what happens with bands too, Russ? Not for that. Sometimes you can get 5 great. A lot of these all-star bands or super bands or whatever they call them. You get all these musicians together, and there's not enough notes in a song for all these guys to fit. So you can take all the talented people in the world and put them on stage together. Doesn't make for great music all the time.
No.
You know what I mean? That you bring that up. Is it because there's not enough for them to play, or is it because they're afraid to let people down, and maybe they go 2 or 3 albums and then they're like, we can't keep writing stuff like this.
Well, I think a lot of bands write music and they lose their songwriting mojo. I think that they're repetitive. They start rewriting the same records. I know a lot of bands like that, and they're coming up with they're not coming up with anything new. They're just rehashing the old stuff,
Yeah.
And, you can hear it.
Yeah.
You can definitely hear it.
Absolutely. Hey, Ross, last thing before we let you go. Real quick, what can be a quick take on the Giants season? And if the Giants made the playoffs with 6 wins, would you be disappointed? Would you watch, or are you okay with it?
I'm not okay. First of all, I'm not okay with the Giants. I'm not okay with the NFL.
I got you.
Your basketball, forget it. I did watch them win their first game last week, and
Okay.
I got it. I promised myself I wasn't going to watch the NFL because I have my own.
We all feel the same way.
Basketball, I haven't watched the game. I haven't watched one.
Neither have I.
But I was glad to see the Giants win. Although, yeah, I'm glad to see them. They won. I just have something in my heart for them because I'm a diehard Giants fan all my life, and when they win, it makes me happy.
Absolutely.
That first win, 1-5. What are they? 1-5.
1-5, as Jeff will point out at some point, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Get it? They got to dig themselves out.
The scary part is they're only game out of a win tonight, and they're tied for first place in the division.
Well, because the division's so bad.
Exactly. That's
One good thing that is going down is the Dallas Cowboys are so fucking bad.
Absolutely.
That makes me. That gives me glee. That fills me with happiness.
It's almost as good as the Giants winning as the Cowboys losing.
I couldn't care if the Giants lost. If the Cowboys lose, it's a great day.
Absolutely. Listen, I feel the same way as you, Russ. No doubt about it. But
to watch Jerry Jones's face, cringing in the back there. I mean, it's like it gives me a warm feeling inside, a warm fuzzy feeling watching the Cowboys lose.
Absolutely. And listen, we're going to let Ross go, but we want you guys to get out there. Make sure you go to rosstheboss.com. Ross, where else can people go? Amazon. Where can they find your stuff? Where can they check you out?
You can find my stuff on Amazon, on Shitify. You can YouTube this stuff up there. Steel Cartel Records for the Death Dealer. I strongly recommend the record. All the vinyl that we have. You can Google Steel Cartel and it'll get you right to it. We have tremendous amount of. Sean has made a tremendous amount of great merchandise. Great looking stuff, great different packages, autograph cards, you name it. You name it. So
awesome. Well, we're looking forward to November 13th. Well, I'm sure at some point, you know what? Here's what I thought of today. At some point, I think the Hard Rock and Sports Show should do a live show from the Ross the Boss batting cages, and we just sit in for the entire show. We got to kill time. We got to keep you busy.
Yeah, come here and do it.
We come and do the show there. We get to meet you. We get to hang out a little bit. And until you go out on the road, what else? Listen, what better thing to do to help co-host this show with us? We'll do it before the holidays. We'll have some fun. I'll reach out. If you're interested, you let us know. We'd love to do something.
come over. We'll have some mitzvah. We'll have a mitzvah. Jewish I am. So yeah, we can. I'll have plenty of time. So maybe we can do it, guys. It's been great speaking to you.
Absolutely, Russ. We love having you on. Good luck. Keep in touch, and I'm sure we'll see you down the road, down the line. But good luck with the new album and all the other stuff that's coming down your way.
It's all looking great until we can start playing again.
Good luck to you, Russ. Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Okay, guys.
That's Russ the Boss, everybody. Good friend of the show. Now the unofficial co-host. I seem to give a lot of people that tag, Jeff. Ross has got it. Raphael. By the way, happy birthday to Raphael Esparza.
Yes.
He was celebrating a birthday this week, so thanks to Raphael. He'll be back next week. But Jeff, we got another guest. It was a last minute thing. He wanted to be part of the conversation about the solos, and of course, he's a good friend of ours. So I got to bring him up.
Wait, hold on. Let me take 3 guesses.
You're never going to get it. But go ahead, take 3 guesses.
If you don't get him, he can't come on.
Nah, well, you're not going to guess. But if you guess it, great.
Pete Bagley.
That's not Pete. That's a good one though.
All right. Will Cloak.
Close, but no. It's
No.
not close. But it's not
Not
Will.
Joe Cloak, is it?
No, that's 3. I'll give you one more anyway.
I can't think.
You should get it. Let's kick him from the studio. Kick the guest. You should have got it, but he's a good friend of the show. He's a sponsor of our show, and he's one of our dear friends. And I love talking to. You can talk sports with him. You can talk music with him, and he's the biggest big shot in the independent record business. He's our good friend John Marhefka from RFO Records. And John, full geared up, John, for the big game tonight. I love it, John.
Hey, I got a rep. If you guys got me on the show, Tommy, I got to support Jeff.
First of all,
look, no.
Try that away.
I kept it for both of you guys. I got to.
No, that's very nice of you, but I don't. What is that blue stuff you're wearing? That propaganda that you got on. What is it?
Just tell him to look up at the thing, baby. A lot of trophies hanging up on that shelf right there. Which we're showing her.
This is the Carl Banks jersey from 1986.
Nice.
Send it back.
That up tonight.
Send it back to 1986. It don't belong here.
John, don't even pay attention to him. You know, when your team hasn't won in 50-something years.
Oh, wait. You know what? I know what's going on here. John, no offense to you. All right. I've been waiting all week to get my hands on his ass. All right. He keeps fucking stalling. That's why all of a sudden he brings somebody on to talk about.
Listen, I had nothing to do. John sent me a message when I sent the post out. John said, what time you're doing it? I would like to be involved. I would never tell John no. By the way, I do need to confirm next week. But we still getting Jeff Westlake and Holly?
We are. We are. You guys are. Yeah. No, absolutely.
But John said, I want to be involved. And I said, you know what? Who better to help me thwart you in your tirade of anti-Giant stuff and talk hard rock and metal solo. So John's a perfect candidate to be on.
Listen, first of all, you fucking sent the guy a Giant jersey and hat so he'd come on. Okay?
That's it. How do you figure that out? I mean, it's amazing what he does.
All right? He's in your pocket as it is.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, you're paying him to come on and say this stuff. You probably sent him a script, too. All right, I'm going to throw you off, John. I'm going to throw you off, man. Don't you worry about it.
I do have the script. Jeff, I got another Jets hat here, too. Look at old
Throw that shit out. Throw that shit out.
The Giants helmet.
Listen, you got to get rid of that Jet stuff. I'm telling you got to get rid of it.
So let's get into it a little bit. We'll talk a little Giants at the end because they just started up. The Giants just kicked off, and the Eagles have the ball at midfield. But Jeff, let me let you go first. Since you're the star of the show, you're the guy everybody wants to hear from. You know, when you think of great solos, okay, and there's been tons of great solos, but when you hear when you think of a great solo, what makes a great solo for Jeff Tolwensky?
You know, Tom, if you would ask me this question even 5 years ago, I would have said something else than I'm going to say now. But I think what makes it for a real good solo is feeling, a lot of real feeling. And I think there's a couple different players out there. Like years ago, I would have said Kirk Hammett is awesome guitar player, one of the best. Okay. I don't feel that way now because I'm not a big Metallica fan. And all he did was rip it up on the fucking wah-wah pedal. You take a guy like Jerry Cantrell, who puts a lot of feeling into his solos, to me at least.
Okay.
Ray Vaughan puts a lot of feeling into his solos. Zach Wild. It just seems like he fucking gets into a stance, shakes his head, and just tries to play 700 miles an hour all the time. I don't like his style. I don't like the way he plays. Randy Rhoads used to play, and he would play a solo to fit the song. You watch Eddie Van Halen. You posted a video of Eddie Van Halen playing on Saturday Night Live. And you just watch what he's doing and listen to what he's doing. And it's the way that he was filling up the song with his solo. So to me, the most important thing is feeling. Someone like Angus Young probably doesn't have much of the way of feeling. I wouldn't look for feeling with Angus, but I would look for it with some other guys. And I think like Cantrell, Alex Lifeson, these are guys that are really going to give it their all and make it fit and make like you're feeling the solo. To me, that's my take.
Yeah, I think Alex Lifeson is a good one. John, same question, John. When you reach back into the archives and you think of all the different bands you've heard, what makes a guitar solo stand out for you?
I think Jeff nailed it. I mean, absolutely. It has to be, something that fits the song, and it has to be played with feeling. I mean, I think that, sometimes, people look at solos and they think like, just what Jeff said, just tearing it up and playing as fast as you can. And it tends to be, kind of sloppy. But I think, a great solo is really a trademark of a great song. I mean, you got to have all the pieces and having that feeling is to me is mega important. And my favorite guitarist is George Lynch, and I really think that George, especially in the, the older, classic Dokken albums, just really, played to fit the song. And another guy that I don't think gets the credit is Tommy Schultz from Boston. I mean, that guy can really put something to a solo, and just being able to hear a guy, just by a solo and know who it is. Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads, George Lynch, Tom Schultz. It's just really important, to have that. Like Jeff said, it has to have feeling, and it has to have, it has to fit the song. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, Jeff.
No, just want to reiterate about something you said about Boston. Not many people recognize Boston for the things that they do and the music that they recorded. I mean, that first Boston album is it's incredible. Incredible. The whole entire album. Mm-hmm. You listen to it on repeat for weeks and never get sick of it. Great.
No, I agree. And I think to both of your points, listen, I'll always say that Eddie Van Halen's my favorite, and I love Randy Rhoads. But, these guys, and Jeff, you brought up a good one with Lifeson, and I'll tell you another guy that I think is not underrated, but most people don't jump out to talk about is Brian May. I mean, there's a guy whose tone, his feeling, the things that he fits into a solo, with how different they can be from, stuff he does like a Killer Queen or a crazy little thing called Love. It's memorable. It's that solo that when you're done, you can instantly recognize it the minute you hear it. And I'm not knocking the Satrianis or the Malmsteens of the world. They're great players, but after a while, some of their stuff just sounds the same.
They're great at what they do.
Yes.
But there's not much, maybe not Satriani as much as Malmsteen, but Malmsteen just goes off. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you're into and that's what you want to like. But you're talking about a solo. I'm sure that with a little, practice, I'm not saying I could play like Yngwie, but you could play fast on one string and do some of the stuff that he does. But are you going to be able to replicate the feeling of some of the guys that we mentioned here tonight? And I don't think that you're going to be able to. I don't see it.
I would agree, John. Give me an example of, let's say, can you nail down your top three? I have a list of I went through a whole bunch of different websites, and I found one that was kind of has a taste of everything of the other ones. It was like a top 15. Can you give me like a top three each year? John, you go first. Can you do that? Can you say, hey, when I think of great solos, this is what comes to mind?
Well, that's a tough one, Tommy. And there's so many good ones.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say that, I mean, my favorite solo, and it's been that for a while, is George Lynch from Heaven Sent. That song, I mean, and that entire album, actually. I mean, Prisoner, and I could just name the whole way through what he does. I mean, from Under Lock and Key, The Hunter, that's another one. But Randy Rhoads, I know a lot of people say Crazy Train, but I would say Over the Mountain.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that one.
It's ridiculous good is the best way to put it. Bark at the Moon too. I mean, Jakey Lee was incredible, on that album, and Eddie Van Halen. I mean, you could name every song basically. The guy just was amazing. I mean, trendsetter. That's tough to come up with a top three, Tommy. I mean,
I agree. But for me personally, I could probably do it. I mean, obviously, I'm going to start out with that. But I mean, I start out with Eruption. To me, that's the greatest solo of all time. I mean, that's just the minute anybody hears it, everybody refers to it. To me, that's the best. I mean, that doesn't mean that it's the greatest. It's just, to me, that's the one that stands out for me. Jeff, I don't know how you feel about it. Do you hold it up in high regard? And the Eagles just scored the first touchdown of the game. Eruption.
Yeah, listen, Eruption's a great little tune. Don't get me wrong. Okay, awesome. Not many people could play it like Eddie does, but it's something that we've heard so many times because it is Eruption that you would listen to it countless times. We could have listened to it tens of thousands of times in our lifetimes. So to me, it doesn't grab me the way it grabs other people. I'm not saying it's not a good song. I'm just saying it's like listening to Stairway to Heaven. I could do it once, twice a year, but that's about it. Me, I would have to go with some other songs. I think that Diary of a Madman, the solo that Randy Rhoads plays in Diary of a Madman, has got to be one of the greatest solos ever. Dimebag playing the solo in Domination off of the first album, off of it I can't even remember the Cowboys from Hell. The song Domination, it's like, holy shit. I mean, I played that song in bands before and watched the guitar players do it, and half of them couldn't fucking play it. And there's just maybe a guy like I told you earlier, Texas Flood from Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Mm-hmm.
You listen to that solo, man. It's like, Tom, do me a favor when you get a chance. Listen to you got to listen to the studio version of that.
Okay. And
listen to it with headphones. And it's just unbelievable. I don't know if you're into Stevie Ray at all, man, but some great stuff, man. Great stuff.
Yeah, Stevie Ray was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll give you guys
really was.
The site I found. Obviously, they came out with it's the norms. They have it as Stairway to Heaven, Eruption, Freebird, Comfortably Numb, all along the Watchtower. There's a couple. And November Rain made it on their list. One which I found odd. They have one from Metallica, which I didn't really agree with.
You know why, dude? That's a long solo.
Mm-hmm.
And Kirk Hammett plays a lot of different stuff in that solo. There's a lot going on in that song. It's, and it was their first video, and they pushed that song.
Texas Flood, Jeff, you were right, made it onto the list, so it's on there. Layla, which, and one I was surprised about, and I had never heard the song before, and I'm going to check it out after, is Floods by Pantera, made number 15 on this list.
Holy shit, dude. I totally forgot about that, man. That's another one too. That song Floods. Oh my God.
So it's but if you look there, Johnny B. Good, Johnny B. Good from Chuck Berry made the list. So there's a lot of range, John, for what people could consider a great solo. Again, no Alex Lifeson, no Brian May, just a top 15. But the diversity, John, leads you to begin. At the end of the day, it's all about the ear. Your ear, my ear, Jeff's ear are all different.
Agreed. I mean, there's really no way that you could say what's the greatest guitar solo of all time, or what's the greatest album of all time, or any of that. It's just like you just said, Tommy. It's about who's listening, and even the style of music that they like. I mean, all of us are metal guys, but we're also blues rock guys and
sure,
things like that. So I mean, it's tough.
You bring up a great question. I'm going to ask both of you guys this question. Outside of the hard rock and metal world, what would be the one band that people would be surprised that you listen to? John, you first.
That's tough. I'm such a metal junkie. You guys know
Me
that.
too,
I mean, I
me
listen to
too.
it nonstop.
It's gotta be that one. What do they call it? Kind of hidden delight. That kind of like there's what's that one band that's not metal, that's not hard rock, that you go, I actually listen to that. I'm just curious, Jeff. Do you have one, Jeff?
Not so much a band, but more of a genre of music would maybe be easier for me to say, only because of, I listen to mostly metal and hard rock, not many other bands, but there's a lot of yacht rock stuff that I remember when we were in the car with our parents when we were kids. That was the stuff that was on the radio at that time. So like when we used to go watch Paul Gill's band, 8-track play, we were listening to that stuff in the car. If you put on, I got I don't want to say her name out loud because then she'll start talking in the background. But if you ask her to play yacht rock and then you start listening to her, it'd be like, I remember Mike going on trips with my parents listening to that song when it came out. I remember this when it came out. So I would have to say, it would kind of be like a yacht rock type of thing. All of those songs that we all know since we're kids,
Yeah, I listen. Sirius just had a run for about a month or so where they had a channel called Yacht Rock, and I was listening to all the time, and it was Toto and a lot of those kind of bands, and I was like, I'm surprising how much I liked some of the songs. So to me, that's it's the diversity of being in the car with our parents or being around other people, but we tend to go to the harder stuff, John. So that's and that's just normal, I guess.
Let me ask you guys something. How many beatings did you guys catch when you were in the car with your parents going on a trip and one of these mushy, sugary fucking yacht rock songs were going on and you're getting your ass kicked by your mother or something?
No, we never misbehaved in the car. We listened to one channel. In New York, it was Cousin Brucey and CBS FM. That was the only thing that was ever played in my father's car. And when we traveled, that's when we drove, I don't care if it was around the block or whatever. It was like the only station on the entire radio. So there's a lot of Little Anthony and Imperials and Motown. That's what I grew up listening to in the car, and couldn't wait to listen to. When I heard Eddie Van Halen in 1980, couldn't wait to start getting away from it. So
yeah, I hear that, man.
Yeah, so, Tommy, my dad was an oldies DJ, doo-wop.
Oh, really?
And, so we grew up on that stuff, and I really enjoyed that. I mean, it was good music. It was, and back then, I mean, you had to have the chops. I mean, you couldn't just, walk into a studio and hide everything and make it sound good. I mean, these guys had to sing. They had to, put together good material and be able to, to bring it all the time. And that's, and I guess that would probably be, kind of like my sleeper music that people would be surprised about.
Okay. Listen, it's all good, guys. Hard Rocket Sports, 347-826-9934 and 4. On the radio side, of course, you're here on our Facebook page. We're back every Thursday night, 6:30, 7 to 10 now. Of course, we're battling tonight the presidential election. Debate, sorry. We're battling the Giants down early to the Eagles, but have the ball at midfield and they're driving. And, of course, we're back next Thursday night. We're going to have our good friend.
Whoa. Slow down there, cowboy.
John, I hate his guts, John.
What's the score of this?
7-0 Eagles, first quarter, 7 minutes left.
I'll throw $5 up right now. Jones turns the ball over.
John, so next week we got our good friends Jeff and Holly from RFL Records. They'll be joining us next week to talk about some of the new stuff they got coming out. John's got a lot of irons in the fire. John, do a little promotion. What's going on at RFL right now since you're on the show?
I like to even say what isn't going on. We got so many things going on that my head's spinning all the time. We have 2 new releases hitting next week. The Hydrogen. Boiling Point, which I mean, honestly, guys, this is Hydrogen's best album to date. I mean, Holly, as a new vocalist and everything that she does, for that band, and I tell Westlake all the time that she compliments him perfectly. His style of songwriting and everything that she brings to the table. Mm-hmm. It's really a great album. They'll be able to tell you a lot more, next week. We also have Corners of Sanctuary. Heroes Never Die, that hits on the 30th as well. Those guys are really the classic say early 80s metal band. They have that sound. It's a really good album. They're out of Philly. Total pros too. Great guys to work with. November 6th, we have After the Falls, Welcome to the New SA, brand new EP that these guys. I've actually been listening to this one for months. They send me the tracks and man, it's good. But you guys will have copies of all of them. As soon as I get everything in, I'll be sending them over.
I'm looking forward to hearing it. We love the label. We love the bands. And of course, we want to support. And we're looking forward to having some of the bands on in the near future. Right now, first one will be Jeff and Holly next week. But we're always happy to support. You got great people over at RFL, Sam, and some of the characters you got over there. So we're happy things are going well. But it's just that characters over there. You guys have a great bunch of people.
And we appreciate it, Tommy. You know how much I love the show, and I support you guys forever. I think it's a good listen.
Well, I appreciate it.
Really, I hope everybody can, everybody that's out there listening, and just listen to these guys. It's, there's so many sports shows out there, and and you guys combine them both. But especially the sports shows. Just so much crap, so much BS. It's good to hear two guys sitting and talking and saying it how it really is. That's the way it should be.
You're such a dick.
Hey, listen, real quick. So we got to
See what I mean?
we got to do some sports because we're doing music too. It seems as though the Giants have just punted the ball.
It's the first quarter.
They were on the march.
Yeah.
March, and they punted the ball, man.
John, you know what? While you're still here, tell me a little something about the football season. You're an odd fan because you're a big Steeler fan and you're a Giant fan. So the Steelers obviously are playing really well this year. Probably top 3 in the AFC. I'm going to get to that later with Jeff about the top teams in each division. And then you got the Giants who are struggling, but somehow pull out a win tonight. Could be tied for the lead in the division. To give us a little something on the season so far for you.
Whew. Let's put it this way: that NFC East might be the worst division I've ever seen in all my years of watching football. It's just like it's the Keystone Cops times 4. I really don't understand, what's going on. I watched Dallas last week and just get
brutal
obliterated by the Cardinals. They can't stop anybody.
Yeah.
Philly, just tons of injuries and just really no, with all the injuries that they have and really no standout guy at the wide receiver position. Zach Ertz is hurt now. I really don't even know what to say. Washington, there's a lot of young guys on the team. I don't know, Tommy. I would have to say that probably the best defense in that division is the Giants. I think they've been playing really well.
Yep, I agree. I said that earlier. That might be the one thing, if they can get a little offense together, they do. For me, watching this league, they have the best defense in that division. Now, listen, that's like being the tallest midget at the circus. It doesn't really matter. It's
exactly.
But they are the best defense in that division. But again, unless they can put some points on the board and stop making the bad turnover, then it really doesn't matter. So, but now a little bit on the Steelers. I know for the last couple of years, you've been really down on your boy Mike Tomlin. It seems last year you did a great job getting them to 8-8 with no Big Ben. This year 5-0, 6-0. This is a good team. Give me. Have you changed your thoughts on Mike Tomlin from a couple of years ago?
I give him props this year. I can't say anything bad about him this year. And I think the reason, the last couple of years was the fact that, they can't put teams away. It's just been over and over again, losing to bad teams, and for example, that the 17-point lead they just had. They blew the lead and then had to come back again. So it's, it's frustrating, but it's 5-0. The defense is great.
I gotta say something as a Jet fan.
Good.
I can't figure out. Whoa, slow down there, Sonny. I'll get to you in a second.
You should not preface it with as a Jet fan. You should just say as a football fan, because being a Jet fan, you really have no say.
And meanwhile, your team has won 13 games in the last 7 years.
We're still better than your team. Still better than your team.
Anyway, please.
Yes, please.
As a Steeler fan, why is it that all Steeler fans are so down on this guy Tomlin? Meanwhile, year after year, you guys have mentioned for the last 10 years plus as a Super Bowl contender every year, no matter how the team starts off and finishes. At one point in time, they're always listed as a Super Bowl contender. You've won, 2 Super Bowls with Tomlin there, I believe, right?
One, lost one, right?
Okay, so you've been to 2 Super Bowls. I don't understand where the Steeler fans actually get the nerve to complain about this guy. Send him to the Jets. I'll take him right now. I'll take it. I'll send you Adam Gase and the 2 picks from Seattle. You send me Mike Tomlin. We call it a day.
I think the reason. Oh, go ahead, Tom.
No, good. I want to. He also wanted Mike McCarthy when he was available. Look how that's turning out. So.
Why? Because
exactly.
He's coaching a team during a pandemic with everybody that got hurt. Really?
And with the team throwing them under the bus, saying that they can't coach, they don't know how to teach.
Because they're a bunch of fucking thugs over there. Oh, stop. Don't think that fucking guy. What's that guy's name that was beating up his fucking wife?
Oh, please.
And holding a gun to his head. Didn't he just get reinstated or some shit?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John. You were going to say something compared to that.
Dallas.
Go ahead, John. Please say something.
How can I even top that?
And then wait a minute. I'll tell you how you can top it. The fucking the jersey that you're wearing now, the Giants, Tommy's beloved New York Giants.
That's right.
They fucking hired Jason Garrett as their offensive coordinator. Are you fucking kidding me? He sucked. They did. Oh yeah, go ahead, hide behind the microphone. Look at him. Yeah. Okay. I can't see him now. I can't see you. Look at this. I can't see you.
Yeah. It's okay. How could you see from the basement? Your team's in the big.
You're on the other side of the fucking stove or the furnace. What are you talking about?
Please, you got real smarts on the other side. I got to listen to you and your half-ass shit. Please, thank God John's here to class up the place. That's all I got to say. Hard Rock and Sports. Jeff, Tom, John Hefka from RFL Records. Make sure you go to rflrecords.com and support. Again, make sure to come out next week. We're going to have Jeff and Holly from Hydrogen. I'll get to hear some of that music hopefully this week. And we'll get them on. And we got some other people coming from RFL. John just hasn't given me dates yet. We'll see how that all works out. Of course, maybe we'll get some of those guys on. And we're, again, competing with the debate, which is going to start in about 12 minutes. The Giants just shut down the Eagles in their own end on the 2-yard line. Nice sack by Jabril Peppers.
But are they still losing 7-0? What would this score be right now if the game ended?
Oh my God! Here we
go.
Loss.
So there you go. Oh, look at that man! He slipped that in there, Tommy.
Here we go. John, right now, best team of football right now, John.
Certainly not the Giants.
That's a tough one. You know what? I'm going with my Steelers. The reason I am is because they're playing well in all 4 phases. I mean, defense is tough. The offense is able to score points. They're running the ball. And I think one of the keys too is not making a lot of mistakes, and that's really what.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I agree with that, and here's why. Because they have, and again, I still think the Chiefs are the team to beat, but the Steelers haven't had a clunker yet. The Chiefs have had a couple of bad games. One they actually lost. They've everybody else has lost, huh?
Chiefs aren't the same team they were last year.
Yeah. I agree, but again, I still till somebody beats them and knocks them out, I will still say nice catch by Golden Tate for a big touchdown. What a catch! I'd love to show the replay of this to stick it right up somebody.
There it is.
What a great catch! Oh
so
my!
If the game was to end right now, they would still lose 7-6.
That's right. Extra points, no guarantee anymore.
I agree with John because I think right now the Steelers are playing better than everybody else. Now, again, it's still a long way to go in the season until the Chiefs get beat. But the Packers took a real bad beating. I don't know if you guys saw the Packer game this week. I think the Bucks, exposed them for a lot of things. I don't think the Bucks are the same great teams right now. I agree with John. The Steelers might be playing the best football of anybody right now, Jeff.
Well, it is possible. I mean, you still got the Seahawks. They're undefeated at 6-0.
Yeah, but their defense is terrible. Their defense is horrendous.
It is.
But they're still.
No, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying is if I take the factors of the division of their wins, but also look at their teams, the Steelers are tough. Maybe the toughest defense in football. They're playing good enough offensively. They're winning in a good division. The Seahawks are just, Russell Wilson's MVP this year at this point. So defensively, Jeff, I think we could go out there and put some points on the board against that defense. That's how bad that defense is right now. So,
Yeah.
John, I agree with you. Steelers right now would probably be my pick for the best team in football. Here's the thing, John, last one. Do you like it right now that there's so much parity in the game? Like there is no great team. I mean, the Bears are 5-1. How are the Bears 5-1? They're terrible. The same. The Vikings are terrible. There's so much parity in the game. There is right now no team or teams in either conference that are running away with it or the out and out best. Do you like it better this way?
I think this is the way the NFL wanted it, and that's the way they set it up. I mean, it's not like like baseball and NASCAR is, the one that I really point out is, I mean, after Dale Earnhardt passed away, you see how how everything was always, the high caliber big money teams are the ones that were winning everything. And I think, with the NFL, it's nice to have parity. I mean, I think it brings the fans closer. I mean, you don't want to, go to a stadium and see. I mean, even the Jets. I mean, I know, Jeff. As bad as they are. I mean, still these guys are still competitive teams. I mean, anybody can win on any Sunday. I mean, maybe except the Jets, but it's just good. I mean, it's nice to see competitive play. It's nice to see games that are tight.
Mm-hmm.
I like offensive football. I mean, I like the the 51-48 games and things like that. But it seems like there's something for everybody. Any fan. I love the sport. I mean, I haven't pulled away from it at all. There's a few things this year that that kind of get under my skin. Especially the way it started. But what can you do? I mean, it's the nature of the way things are now. So it's.
Yeah, I think the NFL. I think NFL and sports in general have kind of, without walking away from it, have kind of moved away. It's not as prevalent as what I would have expected it to be. I haven't watched a lot of football. I've watched some football, but not as much as I would normally watch. And I think they've learned the lesson from the NBA and Major League Baseball that people just don't want to see it, and they're trying to distance themselves without alienating their players. And I think that's the.
Tell you the truth, I've been watching a lot of college football. There's no reason to give up on the sport.
No.
Just because the people that play the sport have a certain political view. I mean, I'm not standing up for them and advocating for them. But, the other night I told you, Tommy, and I don't know, John, if you realize this, the other night, Monday night, one of the Monday night games, it started with the kickoff. They didn't show any pre-game stuff.
Yeah.
Just started with the gift. They had the pre-game show.
Yeah.
It ended, and then the game.
They're all doing that now, yeah.
Picked right up. They didn't show the national anthem. Nobody, you don't hear anybody talking about that.
Right.
And at least in that game that I saw it, I was kind of shocked that, I guess now they say now you don't have to, you could sit, stand, fucking jump off, jerk off, whatever you want to do, but we ain't showing you on TV.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Well, they did that a couple of years ago when the Kaepernick thing started. They did that, and all of a sudden the NFL basically told them, don't show it anymore. The players could do it, and the only people getting pissed off were the people that were at the game, but it wasn't causing a ratings problem. They built it back up a little bit. And then, like I said, listen, have all the messages you want. Just don't shove it down my throat while I'm paying for it. You want to do something where I don't have to pay for it to watch it.
Here's a question, right, that not many people will even ask. But when you were watching the games at home, okay, and they went to go do the national anthem, did you remove your hat if you were wearing one at home? Did you stand up when you were at home?
No.
Oh, okay. Neither did I. You know what I mean?
No.
So it's like,
But the tradition is not at home. The tradition is
I
if
understand
you're in attendance of that, you stand, place, take your hat off, place your hand, play it over your heart, or at least take it off. That should be, so that's the difference.
Same people that are complaining about it are the people also that are sitting at home that probably are not standing up for it every time they hear it played anyway. I don't know. I'm not standing up in my own home. Don't get me wrong. I'm home. I'm not. I understand your point, but somewhere there's a maniac that when he hears it, he stops doing what he's doing, and
it wouldn't bother me either way.
You know what I mean? That's
right. Right.
Let's just hope that it gets back to normal somewhere down the line. I mean, like I said, I love my Giants. I watch them every week. We do the show, so we kind of have to keep our eyes on football. I am watching a lot of college. I love it. Jeff's getting into a little bit of college, especially Clemson, because his future quarterback is playing every week because they're probably going to be the worst team in the league. So, but he'll probably break his leg in the combine or right after Jeff drafts him.
It's all good. I already know what's going to happen. Let me write the Trevor Lawrence story for you. I'm going to be a senior next year. See you later. And he ain't coming in.
That's one of the subjects I'm going to bring up to you in a few minutes. So
I'm glad. You know why? I'm glad. I hope he don't come out, and then I hope the Jets go fucking 0-18 next year and they get the first round pick again. Who's going to become?
He's an angry man, John. He's an angry man. But listen, if your boss was Bill de Blasio, you'd be angry too. What can I tell you?
The new Cleveland, huh?
Listen, Billy pays me well. What do you want me to tell you? He's all right in my book.
John, listen, brother, I love you. I thank you so much for wanting to come on tonight. You're always welcome. I'm so happy you wanted to pop in, and of course, I'm looking forward to talking to you during the week. We'll figure out having our good friends Jeff and Holly on next week. So I'll talk to you. But John, thank you for everything, brother. We'll look forward to talking to you down the line.
I love coming on, guys. I love talking to you. It's like even though we're not sitting together, it's like good conversation with good friends. I mean, I like talking sports, and I think you guys do it great. I honestly do. So keep on doing it, guys. We love it.
Thanks, John. Much appreciated. Good luck with keep the great work with RFL, and everybody should go to rflrecords.com. Check out all the different bands, all the things he's got going on. I'm telling you guys, one of these days he's going to be the top. He's going to be the Berry Gordy of the independent metal world. So that's the guy right there. John, our good friend John, we love you. Talk to you soon, pal.
Hopefully I get there. You guys are going to go with me if I do.
We love to ride your coattails, my friend. I'd ride anybody's coattails to the top. It don't bother me.
Have a good night, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, man.
Enjoy the game, brother. Talk to you soon.
We'll see you guys.
All right, pal.
Later, man.
That's John. He's a good friend, and we love having him on the show. And
I would have never in a million years guessed that you would have had him on.
He said, I just started the show. He sent me a message and asked me what time we were doing the solo thing. He said, would you mind? John's always welcome. I said,
he hasn't been on in a while. I was just, when all of a sudden you said special guest, I was like, oh, here we go. There we go.
Well, we had another guest tonight, and I just blew it off. I just didn't care. I just said, screw it. I don't care.
90 seconds.
I'm staying with what we're working with. But let's get to some football. Let's talk about it. You want to go Jets or Giants right here?
I'll
give you a choice. Huh?
Jets.
Okay. So a lot of things have been written this week, and you brought up a great point. That a couple of ex football players have said openly that if they were Trevor Lawrence and the Jets were the worst team in the league, they would tell him to go back to college and come out next year.
Yeah, a lot of people said that, man.
Jeff, taking yourself out of the, let's put it this way. Your team's, the worst team in football, they have the number one pick. Are you excited for the Jets to draft Trevor Lawrence, or you're kind of going, just what's going to happen next?
Well, you never know what's going to happen next is right. That's one thing. Second of all, I'm excited. Yeah, because a lot of the way that people are talking about him, he's a once in a lifetime talent. He's a generational talent, this, that, and the other thing. But then you get these jerk offs like, well, I wouldn't come to the Jets. They have no idea what the fuck they're doing. They don't know. They don't, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh God, here we go. You just don't know
10 seconds.
Going to happen. You just don't know.
Well, you've watched Trevor Lawrence a little bit the last couple of years. It's it's one of the teams you seem to be kind of following weekly, right?
Because they're on every fucking week.
I agree. Now they just put up 73 points last week against Georgia Tech. They beat them. Yeah. So you've watched them. Are you excited? Do you think that there's something there? What's your thoughts?
No, I'm sure he'll come to the Jets and implode, just like every other quarterback that they fucking had.
Okay.
You know, think about this: the
Mhm.
best quarterback that they've had, okay, best consistent quarterback that they had
Mhm.
in the last 25 years, to me, was Chad Pennington.
I would agree with that 100%. If he didn't hurt the shoulder, I think life would have been a little different as a Jet fan. I don't know if they would have won a Super Bowl.
I don't
but
know if they
I
would have won
agree
the
with
Super Bowl either, but I mean, you know what? You had Mark Sanchez 2 years in a row. He goes to the AFC Championship game, disappears. Now the guy's on fucking Saturday afternoon working on ESPN for a couple hours. Vinny Testaverde, you know, he was on the Jets for a while, but he was too old. He took them to a championship game, and then next year he hurt his fucking Achilles. That was it, done. Geno Smith, high draft pick, just never was able to fucking do anything.
Yep, agreed.
You know, there's a lot of different players that have been on the Jets over the course of these years.
Yep.
And just haven't been able to take the team to the next level. And you got to hope sooner or later, like, who is it going to be? Who's going to be able to get this team to be competitive in the next, I don't know, in the next 12 seconds of the first quarter? Because once the ball gets kicked off, they're done.
Yeah.
They're done.
Well, let's ask the question. I mean, so, Jeff, the team is, I've not been a big advocate for firing Gase midseason. I don't think it get anywhere. I don't think it goes anywhere. But the team is starting to implode. You now hear, even last week, Greg Williams was on blast in the offense, and to no certain, the coach who calls the plays, and to the point where Gase had to come out and say, we shouldn't be doing this, and our coaches need to shut up. Is it over? Should they at this point, regardless, fire him and move on?
First of all, I'll tell you exactly why I think they should fire him and move on. Okay.
Okay.
He's produced, I think, 6 offensive touchdowns or 16 touchdowns so far this year. Okay.
Okay.
They're in a very bad situation. This guy knows that he's not going to be there next year.
I would agree with that.
You'd have to be, if he thinks he's going to be there next year, he's partially.
Let me ask you a question. If they went on the run that they went on last year, don't forget last year they were 1-6, and then they went on a huge run. They won like 7 of the last 8 games. Even with the run like that, you don't think they bring him back?
No,
I agree with you. I think because of what's going on in the locker room, I don't think he's got a chance in hell to come back.
Listen, you had Le'Veon Bell, okay? During his heyday, one of the best running backs in the NFL. You turn around, you take him, you don't use him. The guy goes on Twitter. See, now here's the thing that everybody complained about with Le'Veon Bell. Would be like, he shouldn't have done that. He cancer, he's this, he's that. What did he do wrong? All he did was agree with somebody's tweet that says that Adam Gase wasn't using him the right way, wasn't utilizing him the right way. The guy is asking to be used, to be played the right way.
Right.
He wants to help the team. It's not like he said, you know what, this team is 16-0. They only targeting him 8 times a game. He's trying to say, like, I'm trying to help the team, but they won't fucking the ball. They won't throw the ball to me. So I don't think that him complaining about what was going on was a bad thing. I really don't believe that.
Well, again, do you? Okay, I prescribe to the thing where you don't take it outside the locker room. Look what's going on in Dallas right now. You got players running to reporters, and the coaching staff doesn't teach. They don't know what they're doing. They're archaic. Do you prescribe that that's okay?
Yeah, well, Gase already fucking went and said that. I don't understand why they signed him. He was worth too much. They're paying him too much money. I didn't want to spend that much money on a running back. He didn't even fucking start preseason yet.
Yeah, listen, I don't disagree that Adam Gase is going to get fired.
I'm talking about last year. Last year when he was like, well, I wouldn't have spent that kind of money on a running back.
I agree with you that Adam Gase is you took a guy that you spent some money on, a guy that you were hoping was going to lead your offense, and you alienated him before he even showed up. So I agree with you.
You knew going into this, okay, that they were going to get Bell. They talked about it for God knows how long.
Yeah.
They threw money at him because as soon as they said, this is the money we got, you knew that it was going to happen. Okay.
Yeah.
The guy didn't even get there yet.
Yeah.
So you already put him behind the 8 ball, and you put him on the defensive. Okay.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, you turn around and say, well, I didn't want him. I wouldn't have spent that kind of money on him. Then you sign a 37-year-old running back, Frank Gore. You got another guy. Now, this is why I say that we drifted way far off what I was going to say. Why I think that they should fucking turn around and can him now. He has no idea what the fuck he's doing.
Okay.
That's quite obvious.
I would agree.
Latest young kid at corner running back was Perrine, something like that.
Yes. Yep.
Okay? See what you got there.
Mhm.
Okay. A lot of these other younger players, see what you got. You ain't going anyplace this year.
Mhm.
You already proved that you can't get this team out of the rut that it's in. Let somebody else do it. What's the problem? What's the worst that happens? The trend continues. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I got you.
Let somebody else get in there and get an idea. I'm not saying Greg Williams is going to win Coach of the Year and get this team into the fucking playoffs. So we know they're not going into the playoffs. But different taste of maybe different plays, different attitude, whatever. And then just see if maybe the team catches on a little bit. Maybe you see a spark from some other kid that hasn't even got a chance to get on the field yet.
Yeah.
You know, you have to do something. You're 0-5 at this point in time. Going to be 0-6 very soon. You have to do something. What's the point of keeping Adam Gase around? He's not doing anything to help. So you might as well get rid of him. I could see if they were 2-4 and be like, okay, you know, this isn't good, but you know, they're 2-4. They won 2 tough games. They're not in anything. They're over 100 point differential between offense and defense. What are you getting out of keep? Tell me what you're getting out of keeping Adam Gase.
No, I don't think you get anything out of him. I honestly tell you the truth. I don't believe you get anything out of keeping Adam Gase. I just don't think you gain anything by getting rid of him. I think it just causes more. It's the same coaching staff. It's the same. Everything's still going to be the same to me. Nothing's going to change, and you just have more turmoil in the middle of the season. So I don't know what you get by getting rid of him. But right now, with all the backbiting, to me, here's the thing: either you got to get rid of him, or Greg Williams has got to go. So that's because right now Greg Williams is trying to get the interim job so that he can audition for another head coaching job. He wants to show that he can turn this around and make it. So I think right now the best thing they can do is get rid of one of the two of them. Who it's going to be, I don't know.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
You know what? Greg Williams, aside from when he was with Cleveland, was he ever a head coach before?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. I mean, he's been. I don't think so. I'm not sure. Washington, for some reason, is popping into my brain. Was he Redskin head coach for a while? But I think no. I think he's bounced around as the defensive coordinator a bunch of plays.
He's also 65, 66 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah.
Is he getting to the point where he's too old to really give it a good run? Let's say he gets hired as coach of the New York Jets.
Mm-hmm.
He gets interim, and then he gets hired as head coach next year.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just say that he'll be 65 next year.
Okay.
All right.
Ouch.
It's going to take 2 or 3 years to get this team back on track, if they even get back on track. Why have somebody there for that long? You know what I mean?
Listen, I've never been a big fan of Greg Williams. I think he's overrated as a defensive coordinator, and I would not want him anywhere near my team. Listen, I think the Jets are in a bad way right now. I don't know. I think this team needs a major revamping at this point. Offensive line, quarterback, and I feel bad for Sam Darnold, Jeff. And we'll end it pretty quick. I'm going to get to the Giants before we end the show. But I feel bad for Sam Darnold because while he has not been impressive, I don't think he's really had the tools, coaching, players, offensive line. I don't think he's had the opportunity to be good. But I don't think the Jets, if given the opportunity to grab Trevor Lawrence or somebody like him next year, I don't think they could pass on that. But I don't feel that Sam Darnold's really been given the opportunity to be a good football player right now.
No, of course he hasn't. He hasn't. He has had nothing behind him to push
or in front of him.
Direction.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely nothing in front of him. We see that.
Yeah.
All right. Right now, at this point in time, you're better off if you're the Jets trying to get rid of Sam Darnold, get something for him. Whatever it may be, you're better off because he's ruined. If he stays in New York, he's ruined.
Well, let me ask you this: if let's say the Jets finish second in the for the draft, which would be just like the Jets, not to get the number 1, they get the number 2 pick, and they didn't get Trevor Lawrence, do you still make the move? Do you bring back Darnold? Do you try to bring a veteran guy in? Do you try to go for another? There's a couple of the college quarterbacks out there that you can look at. Jeff Twinski's the GM of the Jets come next May. What would you do?
I don't know much about any of the other college quarterbacks right now, especially with the college football season kind of in flux, with different
conferences starting now and some already playing. Yeah,
starting now or starting a week from now, whatever it is that you're going to have more teams coming in.
Yep,
it's less time that these guys got to play. So maybe I don't know who the next college player is after Trevor Lawrence. As far as the free agents, okay, I don't see Dak Prescott being shaken free. Okay, maybe that kid from Cincinnati that's been playing in Dallas now. Fuck, I can't remember his
Andy
name.
Dalton.
Andy Dalton.
Oof,
he gets shaken
terrible.
free.
He looked terrible last week. I don't know if you watched it. Oof.
Maybe Cam Newton gets shaken free. But I mean, is Belichick going to let Newton go if he's worth anything? You know?
Yeah, I would say if he's jettisoning him, there's probably a reason for it. You're right.
Yeah. Carr is still playing in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I figured that Mariota would have been in there by now. Does Mariota get shaken free? I don't know. You know, Goff seems to be on the right track again. Wentz, I saw earlier in the Giant game, was 4 for 4 for 45 yards. Is he getting back on track? What is it going to be? Kirk Cousins going to be cut loose? Matt Ryan going to be cut loose? So you're not really going to get a long-term answer in free agency, I feel.
Yeah. No.
You know, so you got to be careful with what you're doing. But I don't think Sam Darnold has shown anything to take it to the next level. I just don't see it.
I'm not arguing with you, Jeff. I don't think he's given the opportunity, but you're right. When he has had it, he's not played well enough to go, all right, I want to see a little bit more with a little more talent. So I agree with you on that. I don't know what I would do in that situation. I tell you the truth, at this point, if I were the Jets, I would probably go with a veteran guy for a couple of years, try to draft a guy either next year or the year after. And I would go with a veteran guy and try to build your team around that, and then plug in a young kid. But, you know, we'll see how it fakes out. We'll get to that later.
You have to get the young kid, though, Tom. That's the thing. You have to get the young kid. If you get Trevor Lawrence, who's the veteran that you're going to bring in for him to play behind? I just don't see anybody out there that I'm like, yeah, this is a good idea.
Listen, I won't disagree with you, but like you said, a lot of teams are trying to get younger. Maybe there's a guy out there that you can find. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. And I'll give you a quick example, and I'm about to ask you about it. Look what's happening down in Dallas, in Miami right now. Fitzpatrick had 2 great wins. You know, the Dolphins, what are they, 2-3? They won 2 really impressive games, and then all of a sudden now they took him out, and Fitzpatrick's on the bench, and Tua's going to start, and Fitzpatrick is brokenhearted. He didn't see it coming. First off, talk to me about Fitzpatrick. Does he have the right to be brokenhearted? Should he still be in there playing? And B, is that the kind of the formula that you need for the Jets?
Well, you know, listen, I feel bad for Fitzpatrick. Wherever he goes, he tries his best. He tries his best to play. He seems to be. We've known enough about him now because he's kind of an icon almost.
Yeah.
Played with so many different teams.
Yeah.
He seems to be a straightforward guy, a very likable guy at that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel bad for him that he lost his starting job. But you had to know when they drafted him that you know, and at your age and everything, that you only got so much time left as a starter in this league. Do I think he's done in this league? Definitely not. Definitely not.
Here's the thing. I mean, how does he get blindsided? But this is a guy who doesn't have anywhere close to a 500 or better record as a starter. I know he played well there, but this isn't a guy who's puts 10, 12 wins on the board every year.
No, he's not. But he is the guy that's willing to go to the team that's fucking 2-14 so that he gets his chance to play.
Yeah, agreed.
He goes out like he did in the Dolphins. He played well last year. Mm-hmm. He comes in this year. He's playing well. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, okay, we're done with you now. Just go over there. Go hold the clipboard until we call you back.
Like you said, he had to know that at some point, and I've been asking for weeks, When are we going to see Tua? And he came in a mop-up role in the Jet game. Jets lost 24-0. And he was excited about it. Fitzpatrick was waving for the crowd. And then when they went and said, well, it's time to start Tua, he was upset. And while I understand it, he had to know that he was brought in to keep the seat warm for Tua and that Tua was going to play. So I don't know why he thought anything differently. That's my only take on it.
He thought that he was going to get to listen. You're leaving on an extreme high right now. You're 2 in a row on a team like the Dolphins.
Yeah,
okay? You're actually in the running for the division title still. You're 2 games.
Sure.
Okay, so it is what it is. I feel bad for the guy? Yeah, but like you said, he should have known that. This day is coming. That's all there is to it.
I wholeheartedly agree. Guys, Hard Rocket Sports, 347-826-9934 is the radio side. Again, right here on the Hard Rocket Sports Facebook page. Make sure you come back next Thursday. We do it all over again. Jeff, let me switch over to the Giants before it gets too late. Again, I know you're excited about this segment, so I'll get to it straight. A win is a win in my book. I understand it wasn't a pretty one, and they were lucky to get the win. I mean, first I'm going to ask you.
So much different than the text messages I got all this week.
And the same from you, but I'll ask you this first of all. Let's talk about the strategy employed by Ron Riverboat Rivera. Obviously, I loved it, but I don't agree with it as a guy who likes to consider himself a couch coach. You got the momentum. You're having your way with the Giants a little bit here. To me, you kick the field goal, play defense, and go win this in overtime. What's the thought process? If you're Ron Rivera, Jeff, play Ron Rivera for a second. What do you think was on his mind at that moment? Do you think it's we got him on the ropes right now, let's go for the jugular? And do you agree with the strategy?
Oh, I think maybe he went for a chemotherapy treatment the Friday before the game and it fucked him up. That's what I think, if you ask me. Because if you're Ron Rivera and the Washington Redskins and you have a chance to tie the game with seconds left, I myself would have fucking taken the tie at that point in time because you came back and you're still giving you. Now what he did was a gamble. Yes. What he did was show a lot of confidence in his offense, which was like, okay, guys, I know that you guys can do this. Standing behind him, but you can't always do that. I think you would have been safer bet would have been to go with the tie, go for the tie. And then try to take your chances in overtime. That's what I think, because you already made it sudden death at this point in time by trying to go for 2. If you don't make it, that's it. Game's over. So you might as well go for the fucking field goal and extend the game. I mean, go for the extra point and extend the game, I feel.
I agree. Listen, I understand I know what he was trying to do. He was saying, basically he just had a drive. They drove down the field. They had their way with the Giants. The Giants are on their heels. Let's take advantage of that and try to go for 2 here and win the game outright instead of letting the Giants regroup, go to overtime, maybe get the ball first and march down and score. Because the Giants, they had done it. They put some points on the board. But to me at that point, you own the momentum. And, I think it's not a high 2-point conversions are not high percentage in football right now. No. So to me, I want to play for the overtime. So I don't get it. It was a great job by the Giants. They shut it down. They guessed the play out right, and they did a great job and they won the game. I'm not going to apologize for the win. It wasn't pretty, and maybe one it might not have deserved, but I'm happy, and it gave them a little bit of juice going into tonight's game. Again, I know you don't feel it was a win is a win type of thing. You feel it was who did you beat and how did you beat them, basically?
Well, listen, there were 2 bad teams playing one another. We can't forget that fact.
Yeah,
this wasn't exactly like they went out and beat the fucking Kansas City Chiefs. They beat the Washington Redskins. Ron Rivera, if he had let that team tie the game up, and then go into overtime and try to win it in overtime, the results could have been so much better for the Redskins, because now you got a team. Now they would have had 2 wins. Now you could turn around and be like, listen, you just beat a division opponent. Okay, not the greatest team in the world, but you beat a division opponent. We have 2 wins. We're controlling our destiny going into the next week. Maybe we win again. Now we're in first place. So many different things that he could have told a young team, a team on the rise, with quarterback issues and everything else. But
Yeah.
listen, you would have looked like a fucking genius if you could have fucking tied or won that game.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. It would have. It would have been great for him. To be honest with you, it's another win getting there with Kyle Allen. I would agree. A road win against your division, absolutely.
If it was the beginning of the fourth quarter and you're sitting there and you're like, remember that guy was that Bill O'Brien says, well, the chart says you go for 2 or something.
Yes,
like that.
yeah.
If that's the case, it's the beginning of the fucking fourth quarter, and you're like, you know what, we got plenty of time. I'm going to go for 2. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're getting aggressive. I could understand that. That's fine. I just don't see the point of getting aggressive with seconds left in the game with no timeouts and nothing you're going to do with, what was it, 25 seconds left or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. It was definitely, one kickoff basically at that point, yeah.
I just don't think that it's a smart idea.
No, again, I think it hurt. Here's the thing, Job. I'll give you my thoughts on the game. I watched it. I don't know how much of the highlights you saw or whatever, but I thought the Giants played too conservative. They had a couple chances that I think a fourth. It was. Let me see. I made some notes. They had a 4th and goal at the 2-yard line. They were up 10-3 in the second quarter, and they went for the field goal instead of going for the jugular, which I would have went after it. And the worst case scenario, they would do to force them to go 98 or 99 or 97 yards out of their own end. So I disagreed with that. And then again, they did that 4th and goal at the Skins 38-yard. No, 4th and 1 at the Skins 38 in the fourth quarter. And again, went for I think they punted. So I do a little too conservative if you were the Giants. I think you have to kind of be a little bit aggressive when you're 0-5 at that point. Do you prescribe to that theory, or do you think playing conservative and close to the vest and forcing the other team to make mistakes is the way to go?
I guess it would depend on the situation of the team and why they're 0-5. If you're an 0-5 team because you're not moving the ball, not scoring, kind of like the Giants are at this point in time, you're taking a chance. If you got to play a little bit more conservative because you're in the game late in the fourth quarter or heading into the fourth quarter, I think you would have to take it as a situation of what's going on. Washington, neither team was really putting up that ton of points on the board, but it was close. So it's like, all right, what do we do here? You got to be careful. They ended up winning the game, so everything that they did worked out for them. I understand why they would be conservative.
Right.
Because, once the game gets maybe 10 points, 14 points out of hand, that's it. They're done.
Yeah.
Now they're just playing out the rest of the game.
Right.
But if they're keeping it within 10 points and it's close, and both teams are kind of playing equally, well, then I could see, maybe taking a chance because maybe the other team is going to look to take a chance and they're going to foul up.
Right.
But, you got to try to think that these are two bad teams.
Yeah.
Maybe they are playing aggressive and they just suck so much that we can't see that they're playing aggressive. You know what I mean?
Well, I think if you're the Giants, the excuse is you're playing to your strength. To me, your strength is your defense, and you're going to force the other team to beat you instead of beating yourself with bad decisions and bad plays. So I understand that theory, but if that's the theory, then a 4th and goal at the 2-yard line, you go for it, and then you play to your strength, which is your defense. And if you don't make it, you're forcing the other team to try to go 98 yards against your good defense. So that's something I disagree with. But listen, a win's a win. It hasn't really catapulted them tonight. So far, the defense has not played well. Offense has done okay, but it's 10-7. Eagles have the ball, trying to drive into Giant territory. We'll keep you updated on that as we finish up the show tonight, Jeff and Tom. Hefe, you know what, real quick. The Dak Prescott injury. Now they signed them to a franchise deal, $31 million. They couldn't agree on a $40 million deal. How many years? Is that a warning sign to teams not to, maybe to start thinking about not overpaying or to pay a guy early in his career where maybe you get him at a discount? But is that a warning sign to teams about investing so much money in a player that at any position, but specifically a quarterback where you're chewing up the Cowboys have spent $31 million of their $190 million payroll on a guy who's not going to play the rest of the year?
Oh, yeah. Listen, it is a chance, but I mean, let's spin it on you. If you're Dak and your chance of signing a $40-45 million deal. Like, are you going to push for it? Because what happens if you play the 1 year on the franchise deal, and now all of a sudden you got a freak injury? I'm not going to say that it was a freak injury, but it was more leaning towards more of a freak injury than, anything else. If you think about it, the guy went running and the guy just rolled over his ankle, and
it could have easily just been a high ankle sprain out 2 or 3 weeks, and the guy's foot nearly fell off. So I mean,
it's not good, man.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, I get it from both perspectives. So if you're the player, you don't want to sign that 1 year deal. You want a 5-year deal in case of just what happened. But if you're ownership, do you really want to give $40 million a year for 5 years to a guy who tears a leg or does one of those? What happened to Dak that night? And he may never be the same player.
No, he may never be the same player, and he's probably going to have to sign another 1 year deal.
I would agree. Yeah,
and he's going to have to show what he can do. And we have seen, but you know what? Now here's his argument. Teddy Bridgewater almost died.
Yeah,
what he did to his knee. He's back playing in the NFL at a high level. Alex Smith had a compound fracture, almost had his leg cut off. Here he is back and playing in the NFL. I'm younger than Alex Smith, but I believe he was around or just about the same age as Teddy Bridgewater. What happened to Bridgewater? But this is just an ankle.
Right.
Bridgewater needed a couple seasons before, 2 or 3 seasons before he was able to reclaim a starting job again. And let's put it, Dak wasn't exactly the fastest runner. So I mean, is it going to be hard for him to get another job? I don't think so. It's just who's going to give him the money.
Correct.
Somebody's going to pay him.
I agree with that. I do. I just think it's a cautionary tale of, you of course want to pay your best player. You want to give him the money that he's asking for to a certain extent. Nice pick, nice interception in the end zone by the Giants. Giants stole out the Eagle drive, and great job by Bradbury. Obviously their best signing of the year, free agent wise. Terrible throw by Carson Wentz. I don't know who he was throwing to here, but a great job by the Giants, and good job staying in bounds by Bradbury. So Giants get the ball back on the 25, headed back toward the front of the touchdown. So hold on, guys. 10-7 Eagles, second quarter. Yeah. All right. So, Jeff, I got two more topics. We'll go through them quick because it's 9:30. I'm sure you got other things you want to get to. But, Jeff, what makes a great metal album? What is it in the Jeff Towinski world? When I say, Jeff, what makes a great album? What would you look for? Is it just strictly music? Is it a combination of maybe production? What when you think of a great metal album, what makes it?
Well, the production is what makes the music sound good. Usually, depends on the style of music metal you're looking. If you're looking at regular heavy metal like Priest or Maiden or Accept, or a little heavier like maybe Metallica or Slayer or Megadeth, it all depends. But most of the times, I would say you would need 2 guitar players, a strong bass player. Maybe he doesn't have to be Steve Harris or Geezer Butler, but somebody that's going to fill in everything and just lay down a steady groove, a drummer that could do a pretty decent double bass. Maybe he doesn't have to play 900 miles an hour, but you're going to want him to be able to play some double bass and dictate the speed of the song, and a singer that could maybe belt out with a scream once in a while and let you know that he's there, and somebody that maybe could harmonize with somebody else in the band. A couple different things you should be looking for. You don't want something that somebody else has already done.
Right.
You don't want somebody to come out and play, like British Steel again, but because they added double bass, they make it their own,
Yeah.
You want a little originality to the band also, or try to break new ground somehow, some way.
Nice. Okay.
That's what I think.
Nice. Okay. And Jeff, let me ask you this. So real quick, I want you to give me, can you give me your thoughts on who are the top 4 or 5 teams? No order. In the NFL in each conference right now. Now I'll give you mine. So I'll give you kind of what I see right now in the NFC. It's the Packers, the Bucks, the Bears, the Seahawks, and the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to take the the Buccaneers out of there. I just can't. I don't think that they're for real. I just.
Well, do you think the Buccaneers at 3-3 or 3-2 are a better or worse team than the Bears at 5-1?
Well, listen, right now, we keep throwing this at one another. You are what your record says you are, and right now they're a 5-1 team, the Bears, and
okay,
how they're there at 5-1, I don't know, but the bottom line is that they're 5-1. I would replace the Buccaneers with maybe the Arizona Cardinals. They were pretty impressive the other night when I watched them play.
Yeah, I think anybody would have to be impressed. Yeah,
Kyler Murray has some weapons, and they move around a little pretty well, and they're pretty smooth. And see, now that's why I say about Sam Darnold, Kyler Murray's in his second year. The guy looks as he has the poise of a 10-year veteran, where Sam Darnold is just like, holy shit, they're gonna fucking get me now.
Well, listen, you could throw Joe Burrow in that list. The kid Herbert over in San Diego. These guys have come out, and Joe Burrow's got 4 300-yard games in a row. He looks like an NFL quarterback. So,
and look at what fucking Mike Herbert Herbert has done.
Yeah,
since he's been out there. When that happened, they said that they were going to put the other guy back in. That he was not
Tyrod Taylor, yes,
his job. That Tyrod Taylor was not losing his job. Tyrod Taylor lost his job.
Yeah.
Pretty sick.
Yeah. And the AFC, Jeff, I mean, Chiefs, Ravens, Steelers, and your new team, the Bills. I would say with, maybe the Raiders and Colts, but, there aren't a lot of great teams right now. What's your thoughts on the AFC real fast?
I don't. As far as the Bills go, they're a division winner right now, but I wouldn't say that they're one of the best teams in the AFC. I would have to replace them with the Tennessee Titans.
I agree with that. I think Tennessee might be the best team in football right now.
Well, I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know if they're going to top the Ravens and the Chiefs, but I hear what you're saying. Right now, they may be playing a pretty good stretch of football.
I mean, Tannehill's playing great football. Who would have thought that we'd be sitting there saying that Ryan Tannehill's playing great football? Derrick Henry's the best back in the game.
Tannehill's probably like, why didn't I get away from this moron sooner?
I meant to bring him up before when we were talking about Gase, where everybody said he's the the quarterback whisperer, the guy's the guy, and then you look at what Ryan Tannehill, who most people thought wasn't a good quarterback, has kind of done a great job right now where he is now. So let's see, but I think you make a good case for the Cardinals to be up there. I think the Titans belong in that category. Yeah, sure.
I like your pick with the Rams. The Rams, I remember in the beginning of the season, I was like, the Rams aren't going to be good this year. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. It seems as though they've righted the ship somewhat, and they're working back towards being a contender. And, San Francisco is bringing up the rear in the NFC West right now.
I called that before the season. I said, but I know a lot of people were picking them to go back. And I said, I want to see the team that loses the Super Bowl and comes back next year even stronger. And it hasn't happened in a long time. And the Niners are full. They're talking about benching Garoppolo. I mean, they got crushed by the Dolphins a couple weeks ago. I mean, this is not a good team right now, the Niners.
No, a lot of injuries, though. There's a lot of teams like some guy on Facebook earlier today said something about the Cowboys.
Okay.
And, I was talking to, going back and forth with John Johnson, and he was saying things about the Cowboys. And I was like, you got to remember, Cowboys lost Dak Prescott. Oh, he was saying about the coach, I believe.
Yeah.
Cowboys lost Dak Prescott. Plus, they had 11 guys on the fucking injured reserve.
Yeah.
I'm like, so you're playing a bunch of second and third string players down there.
Yeah.
Including your quarterback. It's like, what do you think was going to happen? Did you think that, you lose that many guys that you're going to come back and continue to forge onward? I just don't see it.
No.
So, but John didn't feel that way. And then, it is what it is.
Everybody's got that. Listen, there's a lot of teams with, I think a mark of a great team, Jeff, is also overcoming injury. Now, again, there's a certain point where you go, how many players can you lose before you just can't compete anymore?
How many players could you lose after a pandemic shortened
or
eliminated preseason? So it's a different story.
100%. Jeff, last topic. NFL's talked about a possibility of pushing the Super Bowl to try to fit all these games that have been missed and, try to expand the season and play the Super Bowl in March. Now, do you think that that's pushing it out too far? Do you think the NFL should try to do what baseball did and jam the season in and get it off on time? What would be your preference, or what would you do if you were Roger Goodell?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think they've been doing a pretty good job of it as it is.
Yep, I agree.
And a lot of people have been saying about, with getting tested and then, the test, they come back negative after that. And, just like with Saban.
Yep.
Took a test on a Wednesday and then took 3 positive negative tests in a row.
Yep.
Afterwards.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's like, how accurate are these tests that as soon as they get a negative test, positive test, they're like, he's got it, he's positive. You know what I mean? No,
they've had tons. They've had at least 3 instances this year where they've had positive tests and then find out they were false positives. So I agree. Listen, I think the NFL's did a decent job with considering they're not in a bubble. You got 53 guys on a team on 32 teams, so it's 1,600 guys. I think the NFL's done a good job. Now, it could go either way. Teams could get scared a little bit and start doing the right thing, or it could go the opposite direction. I don't know. But I think today the NFL deserves a pat on the back. I think they've managed to keep the games on the field. I think I don't think the product's been great. I think there's been not enough good defense or too much bad offense, but I give them credit for just getting on the field. But for me, I think they got to go as hard as they can to try not to go past President's Weekend. I think at that point, people will start to kind of lose interest if you're watching one game a week.
You're cutting into baseball time now.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen with hockey and the NBA if they're going to start gearing up for a playoff.
Yeah, the NHL's January 1st. The NHL's going to open up January 1st.
No, so there's not enough games. Even though I understand what they're doing, there's not enough games to push back the season. I actually liked Monday night. There was 2 games.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I ate dinner. I watched one game, and then I went back downstairs for a little bit, went back upstairs, watched the second game. There's a game on tonight. I think that what they should do is just let them play during the week. Fuck it.
I agree with you. There was a Tuesday night game a week ago. It was nice to turn on a football game on Tuesday. It wasn't bad. I have to admit. And what I do like about it is they played those games early. So to me, turning on a 5-6 o'clock football game on a Monday night is great. These 8 o'clock, 8:30 starts, they're done at midnight. I'm not up watching it. Even if it's the Giants, I won't be watching it.
Dude, listen, that's fine. At this point in time, because of the way that our teams, our respective teams that we root for are playing, that they suck. It's like, do you really want to sit and watch them fucking play? I know I don't.
I got you.
Second of all, a team that's playing early, you know what? Say the Chiefs and Ravens are playing and they start at 5:30. Okay, maybe a little bit later. Maybe they should start at 6:30, 7 o'clock. You know what I mean? I don't care if I watch the whole fucking game or not. I really don't care.
I got you.
They should put 2 games on a Monday night anyway.
Well, they open it up every year that way, and then they don't do that. But I don't disagree with you. I think that 2 games in a night is all right.
Pandemic, definitely now. Why not? There's no issue with that.
Well, I think you'll see that more. I think they've realized that kind of works now. So the games that are going to miss, if the team gets shut down and they can't play Sunday and they have to make it up on Monday night, I don't think the NFL is all that upset about it.
They just announced that they moved the game on Sunday night. I think the Buccaneers were supposed to play the late game on Sunday. And they moved it, and they're going to have them playing at 4 o'clock, and they gave somebody else the late game because one of the teams that was supposed to play late, they had a guy on the team that ended up getting positive test.
Okay.
So they want to make sure that they have a late game.
Okay.
So they turned around and they switched it and they put 2 healthy teams up. So now the game should not get canceled.
Okay. Well, I think the NFL, let's pat the NFL on the back. We're not a big fan of the way the NFL does things right now. But they've done a good job getting all these games on so far and making up the ones that they had to miss. So good for them. But, Jeff, unless you got something else, I think it's time to wind this one down. Remember, this Saturday, our friends from Black Sasquatch will be at the Somewhere Else Bar from 7 to 11 p.m. in Newark, Ohio. That's right. Make sure you check out our good friends from Black Sasquatch. Will be playing and hanging out over at the Somewhere Else Bar in Newark, Ohio. So thanks to the boys, and make sure you get out there and support. Jeff, you got anything you want to end with before we call it a night?
No, dude, other than it was a long week, and, thank God it's almost over. Well, it is over for me. I ended up taking today off. A new bass came in the mail.
I saw it. Congratulations on the new bass. I
I buy bases during a fucking pandemic, like people buy food. Like, why?
Well, you got to have something to do, Jeff. So
what's
everything you thought it would be?
What's going on with your purchase?
My purchase right now is been postponed to when it says, according to the website, October 27th. So
just a few days away.
I guess it's already been moved once from the 17th to the 27th. Another guitar I had an eye on went from the 25th of October to November 17th. So I did speak to the people at American Music, and they basically said, listen, there's a very big demand right now for those style guitars, and we hope not to miss. But, I will say this. They took a deposit on it, and they gave the deposit back.
Oh, wow, really?
Yes, so they basically said you're still in line for it, but they do not hold your money past 10 days.
Wow.
And then when the guitar becomes available, I guess they'll either take the money back or they'll send me something and say, do you want it?
Wow.
But they refunded my money.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yes. Yeah, it was only, $150 that they put out there, but at the end of the day, it was, it was a nice gesture. They tell me that's kind of standard business. So we shall see. But yeah, mine is still pending, and hopefully it will. I will be getting it in the next week.
No, that's when you're supposed to get it, the 27th?
Well, it goes out. I had paid for a overnight shipment, so if it's in on the 27th, I should have it on the 28th. $5 extra a week, and $5 extra a month. Why not, Jeff?
Awesome. That is fucking great. You know why? Because I got mine. I think they put it on the back of a fucking pigeon and let the motherfucker fly it up here from Florida. And I hate UPS. Fuck these motherfuckers.
Okay.
I get the email from UPS. We're gonna, here's your tracking number, this, that, and the other thing. So then you gotta wait, and then all of a sudden it starts to move. But whatever they put it on, I guess it's a truck, and then they truck it on up here, and I'm like, you know what? It ain't checking in any place. You don't know where it is. You don't know how the weather has changed. Where it is, it's in a cardboard box. Oh God, please let it be safe. And then all of a sudden, I heard the UPS truck today. So now I'm pushing my blind dog into the kitchen. I'm like, come on, get in there. Let me put the gate up. Yeah, I gotta get something out of the mailbox. Then the guy, I see him get in the truck, and I was like, you got something for me? And he's like, oh yeah, I'll be right there. And then he gets in the truck and he drives up like 2 or 3 houses. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You goof,
Yeah.
So I see him pull the box out. The box is all fucking, manipulated in a way that I'm like, oh no.
You're thinking the worst at that point?
Oh yeah, I wasn't very happy at that point. The box was a little beat up. Then I opened up the box and I see the way they packed it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what the fuck happened here? It should have been packed a little bit better, but
yeah.
Bottom line is when I took it out, nothing has fallen off of it yet.
And you're pleased with the sound and the feel of the bass?
Well, dude, you know what? Yes, from what I know so far, yes. With everything that's going on with the dog this week, it was like I played it real quick to make sure that it was.
What was the first song you played?
Flirting with Disaster from Molly Hatchet.
A song in the new set list of the hard rock of the band. I don't even know what to call it at this point. We'll see.
But I'm actually playing that song with 2 bands now. Yeah. And then I played another song with it, but I can't remember what it was. But it played nice. It felt nice. It's good. The neck is very narrow, not a wide neck. But you know what? The color looks good, and I like it, and sounds good. And I'm looking forward to getting out there with the Hard Rocket Sports band and seeing how that goes. And
Yep. So the encouraging text today from our new, I guess our new drummer, and So we'll see how that plays out. But we got to get a little more time before that's ready to go. And right now we're going to pull this to an end. Let you get off and watch the Giants, and maybe check in on the presidential. Will you check in on the debate at all? Is that even on the radar for Jeff tonight?
You know what, Tom? I'd like to see what's going on. I got to say this much.
Go ahead.
I'm interested to see how the mute button is going to work. Because I don't think either one of these fucking guys is going to shut up. I personally don't think that they should be anywhere near one another. I think that they should be in opposite rooms or something of that nature, sitting behind a desk, set them up, something nice for them. See a way when your mic is shut off,
you can't hear nothing.
Camera, so that you can roll your eyes and make your faces like you're in sixth grade. But that we can't hear you when you're trying to go in it. Because if they're on the same stage, and then one of these guys start to bitch, you're probably going to hear them over the other guy anyway, somewhat.
Very possible. Yeah, I have not watched. I have DVR'd it, so when I'm off, I will go use the restroom. I will check in on the wife, and then I will go watch it from the beginning. I will tape the second half of the Giant game and catch up with that a little later on. But I am interested in the debate, same as you. Again, guys, less than 2 weeks to the big election. So let's see. Also, 2 weeks to Jeff's anniversary, so we'll be celebrating that as well. But looking forward to. I gotta be honest. I'm looking forward to this being over one way or the other. I certainly hope my guy wins, but I am looking forward to this being done and moving on to hopefully bigger and better things in our future.
Real quick before we go, I got one last question for you.
Go ahead.
I've always thought of you as a stand-up guy. You always have been. Nobody's ever really said anything, about you that makes you be like, wow, this guy's fucked up. But not at all. What happens if Joe Biden wins in your eyes? What happens in your life? What do you think? What do you do? What is your reaction going to be if Joe Biden somehow pulls this out?
Honestly, I'm going to be very disappointed because I think that I don't like where the country is going to head to. But I will do the same thing when Obama won. Again, I will always root for the guy who's in office. Now, I'll be critical, but again, I will not be protesting. I will not be throwing things through somebody's window. I will not threaten to leave the country. I think that this is not. It wouldn't be good for the country. But at the end of the day, I am an American citizen. I love this country. I will support the president. Hope he does a great job, because if he does a great job, then my life's better. But again, I am not rooting for that, but that's just the way I feel. You will hear me bitch and complain, and anytime he does something screwed up, which I'm sure it'll happen, I will complain about it. But at the end of the day, I will be just as happy as if he did a good job, and it's not an issue.
Well, let me tell you, as somebody that sees what goes on now, okay, I would think that that's pretty decent of you to say all of that and everything. And I hope that more people, if Biden does win, I hope that more people think like you, and which would make it a bit better for everybody. A big problem with Trump, in my eyes, was constantly fighting and bickering with this man. Yeah, had no problem at all fighting and bickering back with people.
He's a fight. Listen, I understand.
Silly.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's a shame because how much has been put on hold, how much has been put off to the side, and it's the way it is, man. Also, that other people could fight with one another over this other bullshit.
Well, Jeff, let me say this thing. And again, I know you're not a fan of Trump. You're probably not a fan of either guy. Well, here's what I'll say about Trump. Could you imagine if for the last 3 years, forget that they didn't like him or they didn't work with him, but they went after him tooth and nail every step of the way. They threw every roadblock possible. Yet the guy still came up with all these Mideast peace agreements. He started no new wars. He had the best economy you could ever see. I mean, 160 million people working at one point, records. I mean, just stock market records, just everything. I just say, could you imagine if he they didn't like him, but they worked with him a little bit? How much better we could be right now? But they just were never going to do it. And I think that's the shame of the whole thing, is that that we might not know. This may go Tuesday another way, and we'll never know how good it could have really been had they worked with him or just even or not worked against him. How about that?
Listen, I hear you and I agree with you. You're 100% right. But you know what, Tom? The economy seems to work in a way, in waves, so to speak. We have a good time and then it goes down. We have a rough time, a bad time. Then it goes up again. It's good. And then it's just the natural progression of the economy. As far as whatever peace deals he brokered in the Middle East, that means nothing to me because these people have been fighting for thousands of years. You might have had a temporary pause on it. That's any time that they're not fighting is good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But how long is it going to last for? Let's be realistic.
Well, you know what, Jeff? Here's the thing. I agree with that, but at least you could. The one thing I'll say is it's never happened before. He's got all these different countries. See, here's the thing. Everybody wanted him to go in and try to make peace with the Iranians and then have everybody else around him kind of follow suit and have him broker the Iranians. And he said, you know what? Screw that. Screw the Iranians. We're going to choke them to death. We're going to sanction them to death. And we're going to go make friends and make everybody else around them be friends. And they're going to choke that way. And that's what's happening. And Iran is praying to whatever God they pray to that he loses, because if he gets another 4 years, they're going to have to come to the table and make some deals and play ball with the United States and not try to, blow us up all over the place. So I understand your point. And yes, somewhere down the line, somebody over there will drop a bomb on somebody.
Yeah,
but right now,
it's been going on. Listen, they all hate one another, and I understand what you're saying. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But because of the hate that they have for one another.
Oh, absolutely.
In the Middle East, it's only going to last for so long. There have been ceasefires before. There have been treaties before, and then somebody farts and it drifts the wrong way, and that's it. Next thing you know, they're killing one another.
100%. But like I said, this is the first time. If he goes out in November, if this is it for him in January, he would be the first president, and I can't tell how many years that has not started a war someplace. And give the guy credit. People thought that he was going to come in and be this warmonger, and he hasn't. He's bringing troops home. He's made peace agreements all over the world, and the guy's turned around and Korea has not fired a missile anywhere. The Russians have been quiet. They haven't tried to invade anybody else. The Chinese have taken a step back. So, for a lot of things, you can knock the guy. If you just go look at his record, it ain't bad. And I just wish that in this 3.5 years, they wouldn't have went to hurt him and just not worked with him. I think he would have been even more successful, and we'd be doing better now. But I would tell you that if he does find a way to win, and I think he will, I have to be honest with you, I think he's going to win. But if he does lose, I just hope that people come together either way, and we get on to regular trying to be great again. Because listen, even with all the bullshit right now, this country is still better than anywhere else. So that's what I hope for.
Of course.
And
1,000 times better than any place else. And everything that you said, once again, is true for the most part, I feel. And I'm not saying that you're lying. I just don't think that certain things are going to last the way that they figured. And peace deals in the Middle East, I don't think that's going to happen. North Korea, listen, North Korea, that guy wasn't going to be able to reach us with anything he had anywhere.
No, but it's not quite. But it's a question of him sending missiles toward Japan, starting a war, starting something stupid. But again, he did all these things during the Obama administration that he hasn't done now, and I think there's something to be said for that.
But you know what, Tom? Remember, they were saying that he could barely fucking fire anything over Japan. Okay, Saddam Hussein, when he wouldn't let the UN weapons inspectors into Iraq.
Right.
Because he was trying to, he had no choice. He couldn't let anybody else know that he didn't have weapons. He needed people to think that he had these weapons, probably to save his own ass, or else he would have gotten invaded even sooner.
Absolutely right.
Okay? So he put up a front and everything else, and it backed up, blew up and backfired in his face.
Yeah.
Same thing with this guy in North Korea. Yeah, he has millions and millions of troops and everything, but they cut themselves off from the rest of the world. So it would only take a short time to strangle a country like North Korea, and that, you want to start a fight with them. How are they going to get here? You know what I mean?
It's not that. Here's the thing: what happens with North Korea? North Korea and the United States decide to have a war. China jumps right in, and you start a global war. So what you want to do is keep that guy quiet, strangle him. Hopefully, you get him to change, and you keep China and the United States from going to war, because that's what you don't want is war. And I think by a little, all you need is one little stupid country to start something with us, and then you're going to have Russia and China jump in, and then it's a free for all, and that's what you're trying to avoid by keeping them quiet.
Very true, and you might have had that very situation, Russia and China coming after you.
Absolutely, it's Russia by itself can't beat us because while they used to be a global strength, their economy sucks. They got no money. Their armed forces are not nearly what it used to be. But if you take them, put China together, it's formidable, And China, don't forget, Russia is only on the other side, not too far off of Alaska. So you're not, you're pretty close there. So there's a lot of little things that you have to watch, and he's done a good job with that stuff that he won't get credit for. But again, there's a lot of, do I think Biden's the guy? No, I don't. I personally won't. I don't see it. I've had arguments with people about it. People have to vote their conscience. I just say, remember one thing. Here's the thing I'll say at the end. Right now we have the worst numbers we've had since Trump's been in office, 7.8 unemployment. Okay, it was at 15 for a while. He got it down to this point in a few months, back to work. It was 10 under Obama. 10% unemployment in this country, 8 more million people on welfare or social services. Even in being in the middle of a pandemic, this economy is re-gearing up. And if those blue states ever open up and allow people to go back to work, it'll be even better. But everybody vote their conscience, just vote. That's all.
You can't blame him
nope.
for the numbers, the unemployment numbers of the pandemic, regardless of who opened up what and let anybody back to work. It's a pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay. We made it through the spring and the summer, and now we're getting into the fall, and people are like, the numbers are going up again. This is not good. This is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. I agree with you.
You said it. You said it perfectly before. 40 million people got it, and less than 1 million people died, or about 1 million. Again, too many, but
more than 1 million died. Those are pretty good. 40-1. Am I correct?
Yeah. I think it's 400-1, if I'm not mistaken. No, 40-1. You're right.
40 to 1. Yeah, 40 million to 1
million. 99% of the people who get it have no problem, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah. And I would like to know, out of the million plus that have died, how many of them actually died of COVID. But you know what, too, real quick, but I know you're looking to go, and that's fine.
Yeah.
The other day on TV, and they were like, these numbers are they're record numbers, and I'm looking at it, like 900 people in Utah have it.
Yeah.
And they're like 900 people a day. That's a record number. We were getting thousands a day in New York.
Yeah. Well,
and then it's just like the things that they say. Oh, another 200,000 could die. Why? How?
Yeah.
How are 200,000 going to die when we went through the heart of it the last time?
Yeah.
And not that many people died, and now we're more versed on how to stay safer from it.
100%.
If it's even working. I don't see another 200,000 people dying unless everybody's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to stand on top of you. I'm not washing my hands. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not that.
But this is the media, Jeff. This is just the media blowing this up right now to try to influence the election. I mean, and again, it's out there. There's some spikes here and there, no doubt. But instead of saying, there's some spikes, but people are getting through it. Just, it's nowhere near, it's about scaring you into saying Trump screwed up and you got to get rid of him. That's all this is about.
What they said today on the news, I was watching it at dinner time. Mm-hmm. They turned around and said that as far as the pandemic goes and the hospitals that are being, completely burnt out and taken over by patients, they're giving the patients packages to take home to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
So, now they're giving them oh, okay, go home.
Here's a care package. Here's some Tylenol. Here's some,
Yeah. Okay. And more often than not, I imagine those people are surviving.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, they're not saying the death rate's going up. It's not like all of a sudden 3% of the population is dying from it. It's just people are getting it. So, again, I don't know how it works and all that, but I agree with you. I'd love someday to find out the real numbers of people who died strictly from COVID. I would love to know that.
Yeah. Well, you'll never get that answer, Tom, because
100% right.
These are people that got a flash COVID while riding a motorcycle on the highway and fell and hit a bus. You know,
I listen. I think a lot of these people died of whatever, and they did an autopsy and they realized they had COVID, and that's what's on the death certificate.
of course.
But I do still not believe that 200,000 people. Then again, remember when it all came out, there were estimates of 2 million people could die. Now again, is 200,000 people a lot? Yeah, it's a lot of people. I wouldn't wish that. I certainly wouldn't. But at the end of the day, for what we had and the fact that it was wide open and nobody knew, I think we got off lucky so far. Again, I don't want to say lucky and we lost 200,000 people, but I'm skeptical of how many of those people actually died from COVID.
Yes. Out of those people, how many of them died from COVID? And on top of that, how many of these people had underlying conditions? How many of these people were elderly? How many of these people that okay, if they had a cold, a regular cold, they stood a chance at dying.
100%. So we'll find out. But listen, the election's 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks. Just do your research, folks. That's all I tell you is do your research. You're not going to see it in the media. You're going to have to go find it. Email me. I got a page. I got 300 different things you can kind of read up on what Trump's done and what Biden hasn't done. But do your research and vote your conscience and just, But Jeff, at the end of the day, I will be the first guy to root for Joe Biden, unfortunately, if he's in there, because if he fails, we fail. So that'll be me.
100%. And you got to think too, if Biden wins, think of the material that Saturday Night Live is going to have.
Yeah, well, again, I promise you one thing. I will complain though. I promise you when he does stuff, and he will. That's going to piss everybody off.
Oh, I'm sure. Listen, dude,
I will be the first to complain. But
first of all, I don't think he's going to be in there long enough for that to happen.
That's the problem.
Turn around and just gracefully step down, or he's going to give her more and more responsibility.
I think they're going to go after him. I think they're going to try to impeach him, or Pelosi put that rule in about they're trying to put that rule in that they want a commission that will look at the mental health of the president and be able to step in and remove him from office. And I think that people said that was for Trump. I disagree. I think that's set up to go after Biden, that once he gets in, after a little time, he'll make a couple of mistakes and they're going to say, hey, Joe, we love you, but you're not really. I think they want Kamala Harris to be the president, and they had no other way to get her in it because she couldn't get 3 votes on her own. So
I don't know, dude.
She scares the crap out of me. That woman scares the crap out of me.
I don't know.
Listen,
I don't follow it enough to know that, but I know this much. The one thing that I want to see them make is some kind of age limit. I would love to see them make it that if your last day in office as president of the United States, you have to be younger than 75, younger than 72. There's no reason under the sun that Joe Biden at 77 years old is running for president. How old is your old man?
My dad is 72, just turned 72.
Okay, 72. Do you feel as though he's still as sharp as he was 20 years ago?
I hope he's not listening. I would say that I've noticed that dad slowed down just a bit.
All right. Same with my dad.
Yeah.
It's nothing and not a knock against them. Not saying they're stupid. They're just getting older. This is what happens.
Yeah.
It's human progression, I guess, or natural selection, however you want to put it. It's what happens to people.
Absolutely.
And they get older. Okay. I would think sometimes my old man would have a issue making a grocery list. Might not be the easiest thing in the world for him at times. And my mom too. I think they're 77, 78 years old.
Yeah.
It happens.
Sure.
Okay? Now you're giving this guy the fucking keys to the country.
Listen,
it's sad, man. It's sad.
It is. I think there should be term limits in Congress. I think there should be term limits in the Senate. I don't think you should be senator for 40 years. I think there should be, and I agree with you. I don't think you could ever put a limit on the age of a president because we have that's a discrimination. But I wouldn't disagree with you, Jeff. I think that there's a certain point where you kind of have to go, it's time to go warm up the pasture. It's time to go out and sit down. And
I think if that by the last day of your last day in office, you should be the oldest 75 and younger.
Listen, I don't think it's dumb. I have to be honest with you. I do not believe that is a dumb decision, and I would rally around that. I think Trump is still on top of his game, a 74, I think, or 73, 74. But he's rare. He's rare.
But by the time, and listen, he could wake up tomorrow morning.
Oh, sure.
And ask where the Easter Bunny is. You don't know.
Absolutely, yes. And when he's done, he'll be 78 years old. You're 100% right.
That's the problem, right?
I agree. I would not argue that. Again, there is always that case that you're hearing. Listen, my mother-in-law, went from one thing to another in a matter of a year, and she's right in that age bracket. So it happens. So yes, I agree with you, Jeff. There's some concern for that, and it might take, God forbid, one of the presidents getting that way, then where they may start to have that conversation.
Well, when you have two guys that are running for president that are in their 70s, well into their 70s.
Well into their 70s.
You know what I mean? It's and one facing 80.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. It's something that should be looked at and then thought about and just be like, what happens? Is Mike Pence who you want to see running the country? Is Kamala Harris the one you want to see running the country?
Honestly, I wouldn't want to see either one of them run the country. I have to be honest with you. I like Mike Pence. I think he's done a great job as vice president. I think he's done a good job with the pandemic crew. But I honestly, truly, I would not vote for him 4 years from now to be president of the United States. I think Mike Pence is a good guy who's done a nice job, but I don't think he's a top banana. He's a good second banana. I would not vote for Mike Pence, and I don't want to see him become president inside this next 4 years.
Well, you never know. And I hear you. It's just something about the way that he talks. He's too machine-like, and it's.
Again, he's a very, 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 very conservative religious guy, and I worry about a guy like that running the country being a little too soft on things. I don't know his stance on a lot of it, so I'd have to hear it. But I want somebody who's a little more aggressive in tone. I think it's unremarkable for this country and on the world stage. With Trump, listen, I'd like Trump to be a little more, a little less aggressive sometimes, and be a little more politically correct with a couple things. But I would rather hit that what he is than the Pence or Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. I would prefer it. So, but listen,
you need someone like me.
Well, you know what? Again, it surprises me that you're not more of a Trump fan, because he is a lot like you. Like, he speaks his mind. He doesn't mind saying, what comes to his brain. And most of the time it's right. Just people aren't used to the president talking that way. But so I've always been surprised that you're not more of a Trump fan.
I've never liked him from when he owned the New Jersey Generals. I never liked him.
I've never been a big fan either.
On TV. And to me, the president of the United States, I'm not saying that Obama was the best, so don't take me wrong, but the president of the United States should be able to rip you apart and do it in such a dignified manner that you turn around and be like, thank you, sir, thank you. That you're thanking him that he just did it. And
no, I got your point.
What he said.
I got you, but that's because he's a polished politician. The one thing I liked about Trump is he's not a politician. He's a developer from New York City who, I'm sure when he went to a meeting, if somebody said something, he ripped them apart, and that's who he is. I don't always agree with it.
To do that in a meeting is a builder. And now, right now, I got bad news for you. He's a politician. He's a politician.
Yes, I agree with you. But
be a little tactful too.
Yeah, again, like I said, I sometimes want him to go, I don't really care what they have to say and move on. He's too much of a fighter sometimes. But again, when faced, huh?
Got to get the last word.
Always. And again, I listen, he was a 70-year-old billionaire who's always had his own way. I just didn't believe he'd ever go in and go, all right, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. So, you take the good with the bad. I would prefer this over whatever.
And nor should he have done that. But you know what? When you're dealing with a problem like with North Korea,
yeah,
the first thing he was like, Rocket Man. And always with his hand like that, Rocket Man.
Yeah.
Are you fucking retarded? Let's just say that this little jerk off does have a nuclear bomb.
Yep.
Okay. And he fucking fires one off and he slips it past you. Now all of a sudden it hits fucking Hawaii or California or something like that. And you just were responsible for making 50 million people because you said that this jerk off was Rocket Man.
Yeah.
And he gets on TV. You call me Rocket Man, I press button, and that's it.
Well,
you don't need that kind of aggravation.
I agree with you, but it also he was also the guy. Kim Jong-un said, I'm going to do this and then he said, dude, here's the deal: launch one, I'll launch 50, and you won't even be here anymore. Now, how many times you ever heard a president say that? And guess what happened? Nothing, because North Korea said, I'm not taking a chance.
North Korea knew right off the bat too.
Yeah.
That okay, well, if they do anything, like you said earlier, that China and possibly Russia would get involved. And then Trump knows the same too. He knows that he can't just turn around and do that.
Nope, he knows that. Absolutely. But again, all I'll say is this. I agree with you that it possibly could have happened, but it hasn't. And nobody has challenged us on the world stage. All these countries that people thought when, the one thing people bashed him for was he'll never know foreign policy. He'll never know how to talk to other countries. They'll take advantage of us. And he said it ain't going to happen, and it hasn't. That's the one thing that people can't knock, and you never hear them knock him. They never say, he's.
Let me ask you this: you say that he made the trade agreement, he changed the trade agreement with China and everything else, and then all of a sudden now we can't go fucking to a bar and have a pizza. A beer. You can't go to a fucking movie and go watch a movie. A lot of life has changed a lot. How much of that virus maybe was man-made, and China was like, "Fuck these people."
Oh, absolutely. But do you blame it? Listen. All he did was come in and say every year China.
You don't know the truth on that anyway, so you can't blame him for it.
Right. So, but every year up until he took over, we had a trade deficit with China of $500 billion a year. We were giving them $500 billion more a year than they gave us, and he said, "I'm enough." He said, "I want a better agreement, and we're gonna stick to it." And then when they said no, he said, "Okay, you're going to pay to get your stuff in here now." And he took all that money and gave most of it to the farmers who got beat. And he said, "Okay, I'm going to give it to you guys." And China came up and said, "Okay, we can't win. We'll sign the agreement." Now, the pandemic hit, so it really hasn't gone to fruition. But like I said, all I'll say is the guy has done – nobody has knocked those deals because it can't. But he's not getting – he's not getting enough of the accolades for it because of the pandemic. The pandemic hit, and I agree with you. I think this was China's FU to us, and it just got, around the world. So then now they look like shit. But I believe this was China's FU to this country. Absolutely.
Well, I think so too. And then that's another thing too. If it is, it's gone unpunished.
Well, again, here's the thing. And in the world stage, here's the thing. So let's say he says, "I decided that this was man-made. I've decided they did this on purpose. I'm going to drop a bomb on you." Now around the world, go, "Okay, what proof do you have? How do you know?" So yes, I think he says it every time he talks. This is the China virus they brought, and all you get from the rest of the politicians, especially the media and the others, "Oh, don't call us the China virus. That's not right. You shouldn't be." And he's like, "Well, that's where it came from. They sent us the China virus, whether they did it on purpose or not. They sent it to us. It's the China virus," and people knock him for it, and that's why I say I don't get it. But I agree with you. He said one way or the other, "I'm going to make them pay," but what's the right way? Can you just go over it and bomb the entire Chinese people because their government did this? I don't know.
Of course not. Of course not. First of all, even if you would never get there. That's one
right.
thing.
Right.
Just like they would probably never get here unless you sent things in mass.
Correct. Yes, some would get through. Sure.
100 warheads that are shot. I think like no way they'll get some of them, but there's no way to get all of them. That's all.
The same on our end, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And they already know. Well, you do something, I'm doing something.
Absolutely.
Okay. And the sad part is, okay, while me and you get up and go to work every day or sitting in our houses right now, and maybe that big flash of light behind you is a nuclear bomb, and the one behind me over there, I don't know if you can see it in the corner there, that's a glowing bomb. You don't know. But these two guys, these two world leaders, they'll be whisked away to safety.
Oh, sure.
And staying in a bunker in a fucking mountain someplace that it's impenetrable.
Absolutely.
And they'll come out in 6 months, and it'll be up to me to bang every woman that's left here to repopulate the world.
Listen, Trump doesn't have to go to the mountains. All he's got to do is go 4 floors down in the White House. JSOC is the most, I think it's 10 stories deep. You couldn't drop enough bombs to get to him. I mean, so yeah, I agree with you. And you only hope that, again, I'm a big believer in peace by strength. You show that you have strength. You show that if you try this, you may get me, but I'm going to get you too. It's worked so far here. I hope we get 4 more years of it. I do believe it, but we'll see in a couple weeks. I've decided I'm not going to try to convince anybody because people have made up their mind for the most part. I think 99% of people out there have decided where they're going, and it doesn't matter about debates. It doesn't matter about conspiracies. I just say people just read everything you can. That's all. That's been my advice to people. Read everything you can and be informed. Don't find out later, I didn't know about that, and then you voted a certain way. So
like you said, there's a lot of people that made up their minds that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What you read and what you tell them to do. I don't think it's really going to make much of a difference. But
Nope.
I don't know about you, but I got a few things I got to go take care of.
We're going to end it right now. Again, guys, make sure you come back next Thursday night. Me and Jeff will be back. We'll do it all over again. Have some fun. Thanks to everybody. John Marhefka, Ross the Boss, my dad, and everybody else. So for Jeff, myself, and everybody here at Hard Rock and Sports, I say thanks. We'll see you next Thursday night right back here on the Hard Rock and Sports Show. Checking us out. Hefe, good luck tomorrow. Keep me updated what's happening with you. And I'm sure we'll talk in the meantime. But anyway, great show. Great job, Jeff.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun tonight. John Marhefka and then Ross the Boss. Cool to hang out with them for a little bit, man. It was fun.
Yep. Good show, everybody. Like I said, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Later, man.
Later, man.